Hey everyone, welcome to Dazzle Podcast, episode 157. Tonight, I have a full cast, and we're going to be talking about more on the current state of PlayStation. Their final response. There's been also stuff on RAM shortage that's probably going to be lasting until 2030, how that's going to impact consumers, video game companies that are actually kind of wanting to support the consumer and finding any way they can to release physical media and go from there. But tonight's guests are returning after a while. It's been a while. Coda, what's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going?
And then we got Owaz,
Hey, hey, hey.
Zombie,
Gatekeeper Zombie tonight as we talk about physical versus digital.
Anthony.
I have nothing special.
You just are special.
Well, we can't get into the whole thing about video game prices going up because people buying physical media now because of the end apocalypse of all video games.
The end of days.
There's no
All right.
time to go through that.
Hey, we can go 6 hours. I don't have anything to do.
Um,
Nah, anyway. So yeah, guys, like Sony came out what 2 weeks ago, I think it is, because it's been a little bit since they did this. They came out and said that they're going to continue full steam ahead with the digital only, and that even though they understand the grievance of the consumers, they still feel that digital is the way to go and that it's what most people are buying, which even though we're seeing a lot more reports of people pulling up the data and showing that it's more physical than it is digital when you take out DLC games that are only released digitally. And like you think about Resident Evil Requiem that sold out physical. So what's your guys' thoughts on this?
It's not surprising in the least because I don't think it's monetarily worth it for them because they're already deconstructing. When they made that announcement,
Mm-hmm.
like it was already in the works. They were already taking down some of the facilities to make the Blu-ray discs. But what gets me is they seem like they're coming across a little bit cocky. That's like, we know you guys don't like it, but it's not worth it for us to do it. They think that it's not worth it for them to change their track that they're on, and like they're like, you know what, people are just going to accept it anyways. So we're sorry. Actually, not even say they're not even saying like we're sorry. It's just like
No.
we hear you, but so what? This is what we're doing. Deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the only option we have is to vote with our wallets and hope majority vote with the wallet in a physical way, because that's the only way it's going to change. And unfortunately, I don't know if Gen Z or Gen A is going to care as much as we do. So that's another problem in itself. So
Gen Z, I think, may
you think?
because yeah, because I asked my daughter, and because when Sony first came out, I asked my daughter about it, and she was like at school, like there's lots of people who are like, no, like we want physical. Like they're the ones going out and picking up, DVDs and Blu-rays and VHS tapes because they like having something physical. And so, like I've heard Gen Z also called it's like the physical generation, like they're going back to the older
Yes.
formats.
Mm-hmm.
And, so there's a chance, but the thing is there enough of them that will
Right.
vote with the wallet and just like, you know what, we're just not going to do strictly digital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like the extreme religious guy you see on the corner with signs going, the end is near and, the time is nigh.
hmm
Because I have never really been an advocate for digital media, you know? Call it gatekeeping, hence my title tonight. But I never saw the value of paying so much for something I'm not guaranteed to own. You
Mhm.
know, as a collector, sure, I can eat a huge price tag on a physical cart or CD that I want because I own it at that point. I dropped serious cash for that. What I never saw the appeal of, aside from just, yeah, we don't have to actually take up room with digital media, is just the fact that online stores closed, media became unavailable after a while. There's no guarantee that you'll be holding on to that license. You know, there were just a lot of components to owning digital media versus paying the extra to own physical that I just it didn't sit well with me. And
Mhm.
what happens if you lose that digital download or you lose that access to the hub or anything like that? I'd rather, in my 70, 80, or however long years I live, I would rather put in the effort to put that cartridge in or put that CD in or have my third generation grandchildren do it for me, just so that way I could say I've owned it this entire time, you know? And I get the convenience factor because that's what I was always hearing in the collecting circles is, oh, it's such a convenience and you don't have to haul all these carts and stuff. But what about if I do want to do that? People haul their book collections everywhere. So this was not surprising for me. And when you all started talking about it, I kind of was just sitting there like, yep, been waiting for this, not to be cocky myself, but just because I knew this is where they really wanted to push that. And I also started wondering too, is it because they feel that they lose out on any potential sales when we trade our stuff in?
Well, they definitely lose out on money for those. Um, but I think part of the problem is people are paying full price for the digital games. Um,
Yes.
I, I even on the 360, I love the 360 when they had their Xbox Live, what was it, deals with gold, or I
Yep.
forget the exact wording of it.
Or their holiday
They had,
sales.
yeah, they had
Black Friday, the whole week up to Christmas.
the summer sales.
Hmm.
Just there were so many great games for $5, and this was AAA launch titles, and like I ate those up. I have my digital library for the 360. It's close to 200 games, and I would say most, if not all, were bought for $5, if not, you know, under $10. There might have been one that I paid $20 for because somebody gave me a gift card. It's like, here, get this for your get something for your birthday. I was like, okay, let me see. Oh, this looks cool. And I think it was actually Lego Star Wars 3: The Clone Wars. And I think I may have paid $20 for that, but that's what they had given me, or I don't know how much it was, but like, and even with movies and stuff, because it's all involved with the digital stuff, like movies, I wait for the movie to hit $5. When I get it for $5, I'm like, all right, a TV series, $5 per season. So, you know, when, and I don't, I don't think it's when I lose access to all of that digital library, it's like, okay, yeah, I may have 100 movies in there, but I didn't spend $2,000 on them. I only spent maybe $500 on it. So it might soften the blow some, but also there's a lot of those movies that I only paid $5 for, because to rent them is like $4. There's a
Yeah.
lot of those movies, like, I don't
Yeah.
care about having them physically, honestly.
Mhm.
Like, I do not need to have everything that I have digitally, even with games, physically. And if you want to look at video games, like Spider-Man for the 360, there was the three games: Web of Shadows, Shattered Dimensions, and
Well,
Yeah.
there's the two amazing Spider-Man games,
yeah, but
but
not those. I don't know. But there was three of them, main ones, not movie tie-ins.
Shattered Dimensions, I think.
Yeah, Shattered Dimensions. I
Mhm.
got all three of those for $5 each digitally. But Web of Shadows, like, I love Web of Shadows. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna get a physical copy of Web of Shadows because I will play that game, and I still play it, average of once a year. Not
Mhm.
necessarily play all the way through it, but I'll play it for a day or two, swing around the city. The other two games, I played through them, and I'm good. I have never gone back to play them again since I beat them. And like, I think that's also one thing is, yes, physical is great, but not everything needs to have. I don't need to own everything that I have digitally physically. I don't, because there's movies I'm not going to go back and rewatch. There's TV shows you watch it once, and that's enough. I mean, how many people do you know that go back and rewatch Lost?
I've done it twice
I'm sh-
of rewatching it, so
So Vince is the
I'm
exception.
the exception of the
The
rule there.
exception, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also, we each are going to value the game, the movie,
Yeah,
whatever
each differently.
differently, and so
Yeah.
and that's fine. But it's just, what is the value to you, and is it worth it to you to have it physically? And
Mhm.
this is,
Mhm.
everyone likes to shout preservation. I think preservation is overwork. It's just a buzzword people like to use. It's like, no, you just want to
Yeah.
be able to play the game. That's that's it. You're not trying to preserve it. You're not dumping most people are not dumping their cartridges, ripping their movies and stuff so that they have copies on their hard drive as well as the physical copy. So sometimes the physical copy or the digital copy, they have the backup. All right, that's my spiel for the moment.
Okay, Anthony.
He's like,
So
is he done yet?
it's not that. It's very simple. It's a bunch of people sitting around a table saying, "How can we go ahead and increase our funds?" And well, we're not getting anything from when people trade in video games and everything else. How can we increase our profit? Oh, very simple. We'll not sell our systems with the CDs, shut down all the factories, make everything digital, and increase our profit tenfold. And that's all it comes down to is just profits and how much money that they can make. That's it. And because it's Sony, and Sony has a name, Sony is allowed to do whatever Sony wants. And they're like, they probably paid under, if I'm still here tomorrow, they probably paid Disney under the table to shut up because they're not going to be making CDs anymore. And Disney really is like, oh, not CDs. But then again, that works out greater, best in Disney's um, view, because now you could charge a premium for your Disney service and push all your movies to your Disney streaming service and charge a premium for it. And in the long run, you're going to be making more money on that instead of people buying DVDs. This happened with the MD. This happened with um, mini discs, cassettes, CDs. Then it went to Blu-ray, uh, A-tracks. I mean, there's a very strong following for vinyl, and a lot of people like vinyl because vinyl is the purest way to listen to music. Because vinyl's pressed and you write into the plastic on the vinyl. People love vinyl, video game vinyl. Um, they love it. So that is a strong form of physical media that will last. But now you also have to remember too, all of us owning all of these games and everything, like in the background, there's that little gremlin that's coming up called disk rot.
Yep.
So the little gremlin's going to pick up and say, "Oh, disk rot," or eventually this is going to happen down the line. These discs were not made forever. Sony knows this. Sony sees disk rot now becoming a reality, and they're like, "Whatever." It's on a smaller scale with Nintendo, I feel, making the business model of we're not getting money from these games that are getting bought here and there from GameCube. So now we're going to go and throw all of this on a premium subscription service.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
So part of this is that we know that Sony has converted I think it was their Australian marketplace or the distribution center or manufacturing center that was actually manufacturing a lot of the game discs to make stuff for the AI data centers. So they're making money off of that. And that's probably going to be more lucrative for them. Think about which we were going to get into this, and we still will get into this. Think about what's going on with the RAM market. where everything is being pushed. Now, keep in mind, DDR4 RAM or 5 RAM is not the same as the RAM that they are manufacturing for the data centers. They're just kind of just pushing all direction for AI data centers because they're making more money. And so they're not making enough of the RAM that we need as consumers, which is causing the RAM to go up in price. There was a story that came out, I think this week or last week, where there was a guy who was a streamer. I don't know who he was, but he had bought some really expensive RAM for his computer because he uses a computer for streaming, and it went out. And well, he had a warranty on it. When he went to go talk to, I think it was Samsung or one of the companies, hey, this RAM went out. I'd like to get a replacement because I bought the warranty. They're like, no, we're gonna give you a refund of your warranty. So like you'll get $300 back so you can go buy more RAM. But the RAM,
Wow,
is $900 that he needed for his system. That's insane. You can't
So
even
it was
factor
cheaper for the company to be
Yeah.
like, we'll refund your
So-
warranty and not replace. I
Yep.
mean,
at
from
the
a
price of
business
whatever it would have
standpoint,
been.
I get it.
No, but you're talking. Okay, so you're talking about computer wise. So this is
Yeah.
a real life story today. I have a two-year-old phone, and we all know like what Microsoft did with Microsoft 95, that you decided to put a worm in the program and have it allocate memory, and start slowing down the computers, so people would have to upgrade to the newer Windows version. Now with that, and I know that sounds a line out of hackers, but if you look it up, yeah, it was a proven fact that Microsoft did something like that for Windows. Um, my phone is slow. I have an S24. Um, they're up to like S26 now, and I got the base, whatever the hell the base level phone is, because I'm tired of using phones. But to get to the point, they are now offering. They're not doing like they said. Oh, you want 128 gigabyte, 128 gigs worth of space on your phone. Okay, that's like $1,000 or 1,200. And then five something is going to be 18. Oh, you want a terabyte? Well, that's 2,000. I looked at phones today. They were 2,000. Like some of the mid-tier phones, like Motorola, is like really the only thing that's keeping it kind of stable, because they're not putting in the latest Snapdragon and everything. And when I went to Best Buy, and I'm familiar with them, I'm good friends with the people at Best Buy. He was the guy told me, he's like, yeah, it's because there's a RAM shortage, there's a chip shortage. Samsung has a conglomerate on all of this, and they're charging $2,600 for their new phones, top tier. You want 512 or a terabyte or even more on the phones, and it not only affects computers. That's the thing. Like, I know we talk about computers, but it does not affect computers as well. It affects like the chipsets in your
Everything.
monitors. Yes.
Yeah, your
Any kind of tech.
TVs, your phone, anything that requires
Your
memory
car.
or processing, all that stuff is going to be increased. Because I did the same thing. I have the Fold 5, which is not the phone I wanted, but it was like, hey, I can use it as a tablet. I can watch movies off it. I can do stuff.
How's the screen? Is it still good with the hinges?
Oh yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Perfectly fine. I've had it for 2 years or whatever. Whenever it came out, I think maybe a
3
couple
years.
months after when it came out. So, but I want to go back to just a standard Galaxy phone because I like it's smaller. I have a gimbal using this thing. It's really heavy, so it messes with the motor sometimes. I want something that's going to be a little bit more convenient for when I'm recording and video and stuff. So, and I was looking at it, and it's going to cost me about 17 to 18 just for the standard Galaxy 26, whatever the newest one is, but with whatever the base memory. If I want to upgrade it to a terabyte of storage, yeah, it jumps up to over 2,000.
Let's keep in mind too that they got smart as well and said, screw all of you consumers with expandable memory. We're not expandable SD slots.
Yep.
We're not doing that anymore. And now you have to buy a premium.
Yep.
With it.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is like the chip shortage is like affecting everything.
Which is soldered onto the
Okay.
board. It's not even like expandable, like you said.
It's not.
So like you can't even like you'd have to unsolder it from the board and have to have something that you could solder it onto to get the memory off of it. If
And
something
that's
were to
a pain in
crash,
the A.
yeah. So there's a lot to this. It's not just because there's so many factors, and you think about like what we're talking about, which is Sony on its own, what they're choosing to do. Yes, digital was convenient. It gave you access to things instantaneously. You didn't have to wait for the store to open. You didn't have to wait for a physical product to come in. If you played Call of Duty or any of these competitive games on a competitive fashion with a clan, you needed to be able to have that game like first day. And so you could be in with your crew while you're playing. But it's getting to the point to where it's not even just a digital versus physical anymore. Companies are really pushing towards going to a streaming model. One, we don't have the infrastructure to support that. Could you imagine being some guy in a town that has like low internet speeds, connections with some poor internet company that just can't get you the good connection that you want for what you need, and you're going to expect us to stream that something really good like high-end gaming? It's going to be impossible. We're not set up for it. And
I think it's gonna be the same as trying to stream 4K.
Yes,
like I'm not worried about streaming 4K, but if you watch any of the tech stuff and they're like, even if you're subscribed to the 4K streaming, what they're sending you is worse than 4K. You're paying for 4K, but you're not getting 4K. Maybe you're getting better than 1080i, or is it P? Whatever. But like you're not getting all the bang for your buck. You're better off going and buying the Blu-ray disc and putting it in your 4K player that can actually play it at 4K, because they're also trying to, they're compressing it, and so stuff is going to be lost. And if you're doing the same thing with, you're doing something like you said, Call of Duty, where it's fast paced, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of movement. Like that's a lot of information that you got to send, and so you're going to be compressing it down, and you're not going to be getting the crispness that you would get from playing it locally.
Well, I know digital worked out for like my cousin's kid, because they were stupid enough to leave their credit card on the PlayStation, and that dude went out and burned $500 on the card and bought everything digital, and he couldn't return any of it and wound up with a $500 bill. So I mean, there's crazy ways like digital is just not, the best. And it's like, why, go to the store, buy like a Roblox card, buy something else, give it to the kids. No, now it's just, I'm just gonna enter in my credit card and take the money off of that, and then you forget you leave your card in the system, and then you start like, it's just bad practices with stuff. Digital, and something OWAS said was that there was a license, or an agreement when you log into PlayStation. How he knew this, I don't know, but when you log into PlayStation, you check off their licensing agreement and everything. And when you buy a game digitally, you don't own it, you're renting it off of the PlayStation Store. I did not know that.
Yeah, you're buying a limited time license.
And but the thing is, it's not just PlayStation. It's the same thing for Steam.
It's all of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing for Xbox, the same thing for Nintendo. And even some of your physical games, once you got the terms of service and stuff, your physical games, they will say, you don't own them. It's like, we are granting you a temporary license to play this product or use this product as intended.
Now I hear on GOG, if you use GOG, you could actually own it. I haven't used GOG, but I hear that's
awesome.
You can download the actual file for the game, the installation file or the exe file, and you can, if you want to, you can put it on a disc, you can put it on a flash drive or on a backup hard drive or whatever. And so like you own the data, and you can do what you want with it. You can copy it as many times as you want. You can have as many backups as you want. And if you are so inclined, you could share it with others, which, you
Mhm.
know, is one of the reasons why digital is so great. Or actually, it's not just digital, it's the DRM. The DRM is what makes it so you can or cannot play your digital games.
Really, I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Yeah, because they can, any company where you are logging into their services, they can put up a block, but you know what? Um, Microsoft had a fight with, we'll say just Bethesda, even though they own them. Microsoft had a fight with Bethesda, and they don't like what they're doing. So they're going to make it so that Bethesda games run slow. Like it takes longer for the system check for it to come in. So okay, it's going to take you 5 minutes to log in to your Bethesda game. Like that's the kind of stuff that they can do. They can tie it up, and then they can just like, we're just canceling all login for Bethesda games. So if you have to
Yeah.
do a license check, oh, oh well, you can't play your game anymore. It doesn't matter, you know. And once there's an update, even if your
Mhm.
system's offline, well, your system knows, don't try to play this game.
Yeah.
Yep. Once it
Like
gets
in 2022, I lost my PSN account for like 6 months. I couldn't get into it. And back then, they weren't as strict with the DRM, so I still could play what digital games I had or disc or whatever. But in like the near future, like they're trying to push, if that happened to me, I wouldn't be able to touch any of my games. You know, that's
Yep.
you know, so that's just the way it's going to be, unfortunately.
And we've all agreed to it because we don't pay attention to the terms of service and the user license agreement. I mean, if that were to happen and a big swath of people, and I mean, you know, millions of people all of a sudden lose their library to a service that's still running, you know, then maybe it's like, all right, time for a class action lawsuit. But those take years, and at the end of the day, the only one that actually wins in class action lawsuits are the lawyers.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's sad too because with this situation, you know, once we go, at least with a digital side, like with GOG, we could be able to copy the stuff. But once they go streaming, and then think about this too. Once we get to the point where, as consumers, we can't actually buy hardware to run these games on them ourselves, like with the boom for AI and the push for AI, you know, they're making it hard for us consumers to be able to buy new equipment. So like once your computer
Mhm.
dies, it's gone. So you're going to be at the whim of whatever these companies decide to push out for you to be able to play on.
Yeah. Like
And
Nvidia's trying to make you rent stuff, not own it. You know.
well, and
Yeah,
that's the cool thing about like with the GeForce Now though is that you can actually, if you own it, you just link your account to it, my GOG, the Steam, all that stuff. You just stream it from what you own. So you don't necessarily actually have to go through them for what you're buying or playing. You can still use your other services for this. So that's something nice, but I don't know how long that's going to be. Um, Zombie, what's your thoughts, man? What's your take on this?
Well, like I've already stated, I've been out of this circle for a very long time. So, I mean, I'm not surprised by anything that's being talked about. And I'm mostly seeing it from the profit side of things, where,
Yep.
if they feel that that's the only way that they're going to keep racking up money, is by cutting production costs and not making anything physical, then, they're gonna push that model through. And a lot of companies have already started doing that even before that. I think Sony was just the one that was ballsy enough to say, "Hey, this is what we're doing and we stand by it." We don't really care what our consumers say. Um
I think
and
there was a
I
leak about to happen, and
mm,
Sony jumped in front of it.
Yeah, I
mm,
mean,
yeah,
I'd almost say that, but
yeah.
also the thing is that Sony has a monopoly in so much as far as physical media because it's not just games, it's not just movies. They're also manufacturing record players. They're manufacturing all this technology that use physical media, and they're going to end video gaming, which is, well, they're going to end the Blu-ray disc, which is going to end 4Ks, regular Blu-ray movies, video games. And I know that they're not the ones that are exclusive to manufacturing vinyl records, but They could do that too, but I don't think they have a control in it.
But somebody else could also step in and, like a new format beyond Blu-ray discs wouldn't be a horrible thing. A company does that because the thing, you look at it like this: every Xbox with a disc drive that Microsoft sells, Sony gets
They
paid
probably paid for it. Yep.
because Sony owns Blu-ray.
Yep.
Not like with what was it, DVD? It was shared across a bunch of different companies. Sony
Or
owns Blu-ray.
HD
So
DVDs too.
HDVDs, yeah.
Yeah,
That was Microsoft.
if somebody else comes out with another format and it's like, okay, well now we have green discs or whatever. I don't know what the laser bandwidth and stuff is, but or like Star Trek. Okay, now we have our crystal, so you pop in a crystal and it puts in the information. The problem is there has not been that advancement in physical media.
Correct.
Like it got up to Blu-rays, and not that I know of, but it got up to Blu-rays, and everyone's like, okay, we're good. We just aren't going to worry about it because everything started moving digital. And it's like, well, now we don't need something to store this huge amount of information.
Well, technically, Nintendo's the only one that's came out with a newer format since Blu-ray, with the going back to the cart. I'm going basically with an SD card.
I was going to say, isn't it basically an SD card, a proprietary SD card?
So I don't know. I mean, you're 100% right, because I agree with that. We haven't had a new format for media since the Blu-ray, and because you can't say, oh, well, I got a 4K disc. Still, a 4K disc is a Blu-ray disc. It just has a higher quality version of that film on that disc. It doesn't make it any better. It's just like, but it's crazy that we're at this point where we're going to lose something that's been with us for the last 50 plus years. Some kind of physical media.
They just don't want to do streaming services. That's what it comes out to. I mean, that's what it is.
I don't think it's going to be lost. There are enough people, and I think there's a company that understands people want physical media, and it might be that this is the niche market, and you can buy this the new movie comes out and it's $30 on digital. Well, it's $60 if you want it physical. I mean, and actually, even though I'm a collector, I would say I'm part of the problem because I don't buy stuff brand new when it comes out immediately. I wait for the sales. Like there's like 1% of the time we'll say there's something new that comes out. It's like, okay, I really want to support this, and so I'll pay full price day one or the first week or two. But I think there's a lot of people that there's like, yeah, it's going to go on sale physically. Now that's excluding Nintendo stuff. Nintendo first party stuff doesn't really go on sale much.
No, it doesn't.
No.
But the thing is, we're going to have to be willing to pay to have it physical. And that's where I'm like, okay, not everything is worth the price to have it physically.
No, but the problem is right now Sony has the equipment to manufacture discs. So, and I know that Anthony was talking about that we know somebody he knows somebody within the sphere of Disney that said that they're probably going to be manufacturing their own discs for movies because they had pushed that off to Sony to do, and they still want to manufacture that stuff. But
they want to do stuff like collector's editions with compilations on them.
Yeah.
So they can take it and put it back in the vault.
Like they used to do. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like, like do the Princess collection on DVD, and here's like, all the princesses and stuff. I mean, with Disney, it's Disney doesn't care. Disney will still put out the CDs because there's enough nutty Disney adults out there that will buy the CDs and will do that. The Black Diamond stuff was a real like huge thing that people were scouring the thrift stores and stuff looking for Black Diamond VHS tapes or The Little Mermaid with the incorrect cover on it that people wanted so bad.
It's not the incorrect cover. It was a
It
cover
was the
that was
original. It was the original cover.
Inappropriate.
It was the
Inappropriate.
Well,
But
it was viewed inappropriate by a certain sect of people, even though it was just the drawing. People see what they wanted to see.
Yes.
It wasn't like, you know.
And I have my mermaid copy.
But I know he's looking up Black Diamond right now. It's just like I've never heard of this. But I mean,
yeah, and I'm looking at pictures. I don't understand where's this black diamond?
it
On
says
the
Black
spine.
Diamond on it. Yeah, it was
Yeah, it's
Okay.
on the spine.
It's on the
I have a-
spine and on the front. Yeah.
Okay.
But Disney has like crazy amount of Disney adults that they feed into this. Universal Studios.
They show up at the park.
Yeah, I mean, like you can go to Universal.
They spend
Studios
thousands, like
I mean,
10,000, 30,000. It's
I mean, like
crazy.
these people are like there are Disney adults that are so hardcore that move to Florida and do nothing but vacation at Disney like on the weekend. And you're talking about these people that will like bank this type of stuff. Like I know I was just telling Owaz that there is a cafe America Mall in New Jersey is opening up the first FNAF restaurant.
Oh boy.
And you're going to walk in and you could actually do the whole thing sitting at the computer, and they have people dressed up as the animatronics that will come after you. You have to get up, close the doors, and do all this in this group effort. And they were saying what was it, bless you, that they were going to record you doing this and give it to you on a CD, and you were going to take the CD home and you could watch it like when you got jump scared with Freddy and stuff. And they were like soundtracks and everything else. You know, it's crazy what they're doing. But other like companies like Disney, they will be like, you know what, we'll just do it ourselves and make even more money off of it, and we'll also provide to our digital service because these people are so nuts. They'll buy it physical and they'll watch it on digital for a premium price.
Yeah.
Well, and the problem too is that Disney was losing a lot with their parks because people weren't going. And so they were trying to find a way to supplement that income. So that was why they were pushing a lot of like re-releasing some of the stuff that was in vaults. And then they have all the rights to Marvel, Star Wars, Alien, Predator, so much. And you think about the fact that we didn't even get, whenever Netflix did the Marvel shows with Daredevil, Luke Cage, and all that stuff, we didn't get physical copies of that until Disney got the rights for it. And some of them, they haven't even had seasons yet out for it. But even with Mandalorian, you can now get the Mandalorian season 1 and 2 Blu-rays. But for the longest time while that was out, they didn't exist up until like 2 years ago. So there's a lot to it, but at least it's an avenue. Yeah. And I wonder how this is going to affect the mom and pop shops. I wonder how this is going to affect big box stores. I was driving home, passing by the Best Buy I go to pick up video games. It's like, what's this going to be like when there's no video games there? I'm not going to go to a Best Buy. What's the point of going to a Best Buy? I'm going to go for appliances. I could probably go somewhere way cheaper to go get appliances than Best Buy. I can go somewhere way cheaper to go get a TV. And I mean, we don't know where the direction of any of this is going to go because they're not going to have Blu-ray players. They're not going to have any of these extra things that people go to these stores for. And then like they're already decreasing their toy market, which was really cool, going to Best Buy to find toys and stuff that I couldn't find at other stores because people didn't know about it.
But that's why they're probably shrinking their toy section, is because people weren't going there to buy the toys.
Now, they're not going. Yeah, exactly.
And not to mention, I haven't shopped at Best Buy in decades, really. Not even when I worked there, I was buying up everything because, there was a point where, yes, they were like the go-to source, 2 for $15 Blu-rays and DVDs and things like that. And when they just started doing away with a lot of it, and the first time I stepped into the Best Buy I worked at, and I just saw how barren the store looked because they removed so many of the products that I know brought people into the store into the first place. I said, what are you guys doing? Like, what's with all the downsizing? And Walmart did that. Target did that. Like everybody started condensing having physical media on hand. How many times did you go to Walmart and go through that big bin of budget DVDs for $5 a pop?
DVD.
Yeah.
Finding cool stuff that was there.
Spending more
And
time
what?
doing that than actually doing your regular shopping that you originally
Yeah.
went there for.
And walking
Mhm.
out with stacks of them, and you still bought them. They still
Yep.
occupy the shelves, you know?
And it was something that was actually something cool because like I'd go with my wife and we'd go get our groceries and be like, oh hey, let's go pick up a movie. Let's go dig through the bin, find something, go home and watch it. You know, maybe it was
Yeah.
something that we had heard of, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was like, oh, that looks cool, and let's go home and try it.
Those were the
Yeah.
days.
Oh
And
yeah, they were.
I think back on how we did the same thing with video rentals. Once we started making all these films available digitally, we didn't want to go out and rent something. We didn't want to take the time to go up there and look for what it is we wanted to bring home. Like that little thrill that we used to have as kids, now as adults we're kind of like, well, I mean, now I don't have to worry about it because it's available on digital. But then there's now this yearn to kind of want to go back to that.
Well, and it's sad because you look at the fact that with all this, we really it was the convenience factor for one, but
Yeah.
two, like how many times you would go to Blockbuster in Hollywood or whatever your local chain was for
Mhm.
movie rentals or video games, and discs were scratched. And they
Yeah.
wouldn't really play. You get home and you get halfway through a movie and it just like glitches, and you're like, well, oh, come on. So it's like it was like, okay, I can get Redbox, and Redbox had that same problem, but it was a
The
convenience
scratch.
factor.
Yeah.
But with Netflix, it seemed like even with them, like there would be times where anytime I rent something, like they would phase out discs that would get scratched and replace it with a new one. So
Do
that
they
way,
still do the disc stuff, Netflix?
they did up until I think, they may still, but you have to be grandfathered in. Like my dad's still grandfathered into it, but I don't think they still do. But you had to have been part of that thing, and you could still order them from their site. But I don't.
My
believe you
brother
can.
said they discontinued it like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where we have a lost art that unfortunately our kids are being indoctrinated to feel a certain way about stuff. Like my son, like he has all these games and movies he can play or watch in his house that he can share with his friends and make memories. But he's sitting in this room right now playing Fortnite. Play Minecraft. It's like we're gonna have kids that are just gonna play like one game for life.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, we have these live service games, but you're gonna have this customer that's gonna just continue to give you money for these skins or these DLCs for this one game. And it's gonna be a lost art.
Yeah.
Unless we kind of like take up an active effort to get them to see why. Because like, Oz was talking about his daughter and stuff like, and what's going on in the college scene with the kids, and they're really for this with the that generation. But the age generation, it's going to be this weird thing where like they have no reference for it.
No,
and it's all about it's all about convenience. And parents are working so much to be able to put food on the table to barely survive. And it's like, okay, well, I pay for the streaming service. Just go watch whatever, go do this, because they're not actually taking time to really invest in their kid, to teach them why this stuff is important.
Well,
that's all
for gaming, they can't like like in middle school or like elementary, middle school, even early high school, you could like let your buddy borrow a game or trade, and they're not going to be able to do that anymore,
Yep.
So.
Nope. That's why
it'll be one of those things where you don't know what you're missing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because a high school buddy had Shining in the Darkness, and then I think he borrowed Desert Strike, and I got Shining in the Darkness. And Shining in the Darkness was one that I had rented several times, paid to rent the manual, so I could go through. And actually, I made a photocopy of the manual, so I only had to rent it once. But we swapped games for a month or two. I beat the game on his copy, and after we swapped back, I was like, hey, if you ever want to sell that, let me know. and so I picked it. I have that copy of Shining in the Darkness. The only thing is, he went and took my save file and broke a bunch of my stuff.
Ah,
Oh,
Let's go.
So I have
Let's
not gone back through it. And then okay, so here's one that's kind of a proponent for digital. So you were holding up Shining Force. Well, I had a complete in box copy of Shining Force. I let somebody borrow it. They never returned it.
Ugh.
Like it was my brother's friend.
The
And
hunt is on, my friend.
like he just it's too expensive. I've got 2 loose copies, and I'm hoping I can take those 2 loose copies and trade it so I can get a full complete in box copy.
I would
But
love
with
to
prices going
have
like they are,
Shining-
probably not.
Yeah, I'd love to have Shining Force 2 complete. I have it loose with the manual, my original manual. The copy of the game is my second version of the game. But a cardboard box, I don't know why they did that. The idea of effect releasing these was,
Clamshell
know.
was always the best.
I know.
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
I would have loved to had a clamshell version.
Yeah. Well, what was it? I think Rampage and Golden Axe. They came in the cardboard boxes. I cut the cardboard boxes up and put them and I fit them so I could put them in a clamshell. So that's something we can do. You can cut the cardboard box and stick it in the clamshell, so it's still protected.
No.
I did
Yep.
that with some Super Nintendo games.
Ugh.
Special.
The cardboard is garbage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I'll get through this. I'll get through this.
It's okay.
I always knew you did weird stuff, but this just validated it right
Oh.
there.
I also
I
cut
need
off
to-
the hang tabs.
Oh.
That I don't want to hear. That is
Ugh.
as a primary Genesis collector,
No,
that is a
it was
sacrilege.
it was
That-
all
that-
for convenience, because
need
the
a-
shelf I had to put my Genesis games on was tall enough for the clamshell, but with the hang tab sticking up, it would not
Mhm.
fit.
Replace
And they
the
start to
damn
droop.
shelf.
They
Replace the
start to
shelf.
droop. It
replace
makes
the
it
shelf.
look. It makes it look ugly. You want
Yeah.
symmetry.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, take a knife that you've already got, slice off the hang tab, and it fits. Which one's cheaper?
Listen, if you ever come over here, you keep that knife away from my hang tabs, okay?
I did that as a kid. I haven't done it with any of my my current ones.
I don't know, man. This is sounding wild. This is like
thing
the
is,
Wild West.
if you're not hanging them up, the hang tabs are useless.
No, they're not.
Yes,
I
they
broke
are.
the laws on this.
They are a feature.
Useless.
TLC holding it, you can't see the hang tab.
I have about
But
three.
no one like I would
No.
like to get a wall where I could put up and hang like the games on a shelf.
So
But
you
my
do
thing
They are
is,
useless. 90% of people are not
uh,
hanging them. They're useless.
see,
Once you get them
The
home from retail,
exception.
you want to do
They're
a
useless.
video. You want to do a video power, like you're gonna run through your room to pick up things off the wall, like they used to do, where they would hang it up on the wall for you to grab.
my whole
Yeah.
thing is I have about
Stick it on my shoulder.
360 Genesis games, and most of them have the hang tabs. And my goal is I would like a Genesis display from Toys R Us, and then I will put my games in there on the hang tabs, and then I'll take a picture of it and go to this one over here and be like, guys, see, I told you so. I kept my hang tabs.
some of the ones I've bought have hang tabs, but the hang tabs are useless.
Ugh.
That's how they came originally. I don't cut them up now yet, but it's not necessary.
Genesis, now just to be fair, Genesis Sega did it a little dumb when it came to attaching the hang tab to the box, because when you bought a PlayStation game, the PlayStation had the hard plastic hang tab, which was on the back of it. So when you took the plastic off, the tab would come
Come off, yes.
would come off, which was a very good idea. But I mean, the hang tabs are not for Genesis. It's just I don't like the way the box looks without the hang tabs.
Yeah.
They look better without the hang tabs, in my opinion. But
All right.
we're going off topic.
We're going off topic.
Yeah.
So
We're going into modifying our physical stuff.
And plus,
that is
you're
a,
giving
that'll
myself
be a bonus.
independence
That'll
on
be a
me.
bonus
Notch
episode
it up.
or a bonus little skit or whatever we'll have. All right. So one of the things I do want to talk about is that there are fans right now within, I think, next week starting Monday is supposed to be the backlash, or the not backlash, but the blackout. So you're
The
supposed to turn.
boycott.
Yep, you're supposed to turn on. Well, not boycott. You're for this. Boycotting is one thing, but this is supposed to be for people to turn off their console and not play it for a week, or disconnect it from the internet and not report any information that they've been doing anything on their console back to Sony. So from Monday to Monday, people are just going to completely turn off their systems, so that way it looks like no one's doing anything on their console. Problem is, you can't do. I mean, you can do a week, but I don't know if it's going to be anything that Sony's really going to be like, okay, we're scared because
Right.
you know, a couple million of our users did this. Right. We all need to be in solidarity if we're going to do something like this, because the thing is, we have people out there that are going, oh, this is stupid. I don't know why you're wasting your time. Well, you doing this is just not going to do anything. They don't care.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't you guys have you ever heard about doing things in solidarity in unison? Because we can stick it to the companies. That's why I like the whole phrase of speak with your wallet is important.
I mean, but it's on caliber as all those guys that said they were gonna Naruto run towards Area 51.
And they did. They tried to.
You know, it's like, good luck with that as you get gunned down. You know, the more you
in the neck.
You can know every jutsu in the world, it wouldn't help you.
Yeah,
but
I don't think it's gonna do much, because it's gonna be a blip.
No.
Because
yeah,
it'll go, and if a lot of people do it, it'll drop, and then it'll spike when everyone gets back online, because all of a sudden people are gonna realize they'll put a game in their console, like, I can't play this.
everyone's gonna get desperate.
I can't play this.
Yeah.
And then once that week is over, they're just gonna go back to doing it. And once the thing is, if all Sony has to do is hold out for a month, a week, Sony's not going to actually lose anything from people not being on the PlayStation Network. It's like, oh, hey, load times and stuff, or download times and stuff are better. The shop's running smoother because there's less people logging in.
It's all less congested.
So,
But this is the worst time to do this. You know why? What's going on next week? Do y'all know?
Nope.
Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 beta test is going. Server test is going on next week. And you're telling me that you're going to get all the Call of Duty bros to not play Call of Duty?
Yeah, no.
For free?
Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
That's part of voting with your wallet. If you actually care, you will be willing to sacrifice whatever to try to show
yes,
this is not what we want. But and the same
All
thing is,
the
like,
Call of
if you really
Duty
don't like
bros
the
are-
digital future, show Take-Two, like, we don't want this. Don't buy GTA 6. But how many people are going to buy GTA 6? Half of everybody's going to buy GTA 6. It's going to be the biggest thing
Not
ever.
me. Not me.
Not me.
but I'm not gonna
I'm-
be buying it until I'm not gonna buy it until 2 years from now when it's released on the PC.
Okay, so I should say, who's going to buy it?
Day
Like,
one.
day one.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
you hear the joke, and it's like, people don't understand. Well, why are you pre-ordering a digital game?
Exactly. You don't need to.
Yeah, you don't
There's
need
no
to.
bonus. No bonus.
You get to preload it.
Even
You
if
get
it
to preload the game. You've already got the money spent, so you don't have to worry about having the money when the game comes out.
There are benefits to it, but it's a difference.
Exactly.
Is it pre-downloaded too?
Yeah, it's pre-download, and I think
Yeah,
I think there's talk that
So
you.
that's like 500
gonna
gigabytes.
Yeah, that's gonna really slow down everything.
Yep.
And on
It's
top of that,
it's probably gonna crash.
Yep.
Which
could
that
happen.
would be cool to see.
Yes.
Yep. GTA 6 broke the internet. And I mean, I'm not even a GTA fan, but like, yeah, whatever.
So
Even
how
if-
come we can't release things on multiple discs? I know we did that during the PS1 days. What
Well,
excuse is there not to do multiple discs?
Costs.
We did it on 360.
Yep.
Yeah.
We actually did it, I think, on PS4.
Hey, technically, we did it on the Genesis with one game, Sonic and Knuckles. You could lock on a couple other games. You could either play
Yes.
Sonic 3 and
Mhm.
Sonic 2, or you could play the Sphere World. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
the thing is, it is
power.
cost, but
It,
it's also
Well-
it's convenience. The company doesn't have to design 2 labels for 2 discs. They can design 0 labels for 0 discs a lot cheaper.
well, and think about the fact that too, you're gonna for something so large as Grand Theft Auto, with a game close to being 500 gigabytes, that would
Yeah,
probably
it's-
be like 4. You'd have 4 install discs and 1 play disc.
Mm-hmm.
Think about like even with Final Fantasy Revelations, that game's probably going to be, with as large as it's going to be, probably anywhere close to 120 gigs, and that's at least 2 discs to install. So you're finally going to get a Final Fantasy VII release of the modern remake with 3 discs like the original did, but it's only 1 chapter of the actual game
Yeah.
series.
I'm
But
just thinking about all the 3.5-inch floppies you're required to play Doom back in the day.
right,
Yeah, 4, 5.
Yeah.
some of the Sierra games, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was
But-
pretty crazy.
The thing is, the limitations of the media, I would actually say, was a benefit at the time, because it forced companies to optimize and to find different ways of getting as much
Yeah.
as they could out of the limited space and limited hardware of the time. It wasn't,
Mhm.
well, we have almost infinite resources, so
Mhm.
we don't have to worry about optimization. We can just, as long as it runs halfway decent, and sometimes not even halfway decent, people are gonna buy it. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter if it takes up half of their hard drive for their system.
Yeah, I mean, think about the fact that we had lost. I mean, because even back then with the 360, a lot of times games were just on 4 discs, and the way they designed the cases were garbage.
Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you would have discs on top of discs. They weren't like, they had different
hate
trays.
that.
They weren't larger extended cases.
Yeah.
And then
I was-
oh, go ahead, Di.
oh no, I just said that's BS. That's all that was. The case.
Yeah.
They still do
okay.
that with DVD releases when you buy the new and improved, condensed, complete
Yep.
collection, whatever label they want to slap on it. Like, sure, you went from a box set this size to this size, but now you've got these thin pages with the discs lying on top of each other, or the spines are cheaply glued and held together, so it all falls apart anyway. So,
Or it's got a spindle inside it, and they're all stacked on top of
oh,
it.
I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, at the end of the day, all of these companies, they are in it to make money. Because if they're not making money, they're not going to make product. And so anything they can do to save here and there is what they do over time. It's just the way things go. You get this nice high quality premium price, and as time goes on, you get lower quality, lower price.
Hmm.
And so, there's not enough people that are willing to keep paying this price over here, because face it, we all want to pay over here where we can get something cheaper and have it.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Godzilla
Well-
though on PS4. Like
Mhm.
No,
your Jesus. So Godzilla on PS4, they lost the rights. PlayStation lost the rights to have it, and they pulled it and that was it. It was done. So even if you wanted to play the game, you can't. And if you bought it and want to download it digitally, you can't do that because it's gone. It's bye. That's it. It's
Well,
over with.
If it's on your system, you can still play it. If you bought it digitally and it's on your system, you can play it. But if you have to re-download it, you can't re-download it.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
well, they
It's
actually pulled the
gone,
data
McCready.
off of the servers for the game.
Yeah,
Yeah, they did.
And
It's very similar.
That's what
PT.
hit back into DRM and all the licensing issues and stuff. What was it, the last podcast I was on when someone mentioned about pulling music from a game because licenses had expires? Like, no, that doesn't happen. It's like, oh man, that does.
Yep.
And so the same thing, you
Yeah.
lost your license to this character, aka Godzilla in this instance. It's like you can't have that information on your servers. But the thing is, Sony agreed to it, and we just learned about it after the fact, I'm guessing. Because again, who reads the terms of service and the EULAs?
Well, and that was the crazy thing. It was like the game hadn't even been out that long, and it was wiped. It was like
Yes.
I remember wanting to get the game, and remember it at GameStop it being like $20, and I was like, okay, I need to, because it was on one of their sales. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go grab this, and it was gone. Then I found out it was digital. I was like, oh, cool, I'm gonna go get it digitally. It was removed from the store, and I was like, oh crap. And then I started seeing the fact that it was going up in price because the only way to play it now was to getting the physical copy. And I paid $160 for it because I wanted that game. It's fun. It's fun. But I'm a Godzilla fan,
Yeah.
Right.
you know.
You have more
and
motivation to do
I had
it.
more motivation to do it. And
Exactly.
I saved up for it. It wasn't like I went, oh, hey, I'm going to go blow money because I want to go blow money. It's just like I wanted this game. I just missed out on it. But like at the price it is now, I wouldn't pick it up again. It's not worth the price it is. I mean, playing double for it still a bit much, but it's like I really wanted. I'm a fan. I'm going to keep it. But like $200-$300, nah, no way.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. And then it's just like people just collect this stuff because it's an expensive game. And it's like
It's a hidden gem.
it could be in a fun game. It was a fun game.
I hate that phrase.
The
The hidden gem and it's the holy grail. It's just like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh.
I-
And
you
the
know,
thing
I
is,
know.
half the time they don't even talk about whether or not the game is good.
Yes.
It's that. It's also the fact that it's like, hey, I've been gaming since day one. I had almost every. I mean, I didn't have every console, but I had almost majority of the main consoles, and I got to experience stuff. It's like, oh, it's a hidden gem. Where were you? This game came out. We all played it. We all had fun with it,
Yep.
and you completely missed it. I mean, it's one thing if something obscure like Little Samson, like I didn't even know that game existed. It looks
Mhm.
fun. It actually is fun to play.
It is.
But
It's a great
it's like
game.
I didn't know it existed. It's like I didn't know Snatcher existed until I found out. And I was like, this is a Kojima game. This is great.
Yeah, it's not just good.
And
That's a game I've been chasing for years.
It's expensive.
but
Yeah.
like people going and saying like Earthbound is a hidden gem, and it's like, yeah, it was. There's no
Oh.
reason it should be expensive though, because it
I don't
was
think
Right.
it's a hidden
mass
gem.
produced.
It's not a hidden gem. It's an obvious turd.
I never understood the hype
Wow.
on Earthbound.
Oh,
I
my
never
heart.
understood that hype.
My heart.
Listen, we didn't bring up the greatest game that was ever made of all time. But I
Uh-oh.
mean, like Chrono Trigger, but like I don't know what the hype is with Earthbound. I don't know why Earthbound is so much money. It makes no
Supply and demand.
sense.
Where's that curve?
It's
Where are those
a
lines meet?
But where
it
is this?
comes
Go ahead.
it comes in with the fact that, remember, if you were into RPGs, you were in the know. If you weren't in the RPGs, you just didn't know. But now everybody's in the RPGs, so everybody's seeking this stuff out. And if they would have actually jumped in the beginning of when RPGs were about, we would have had more copies of these games. We probably would have had more RPGs in general. It is just
Oh,
this
yeah.
thing of like, it's like, oh, yeah, all that nerd stuff, and then now they're like, I'm a superhero fan. I got all these Marvel things.
Do
It's
you
like you didn't like this shit back in the day.
do you get my frustration
exactly.
now with FF7 and Symphony of the Night?
Oh, here we go. What? That everybody's on the Symphony of the Night bandwagon now? Oh my god, it's a great game. I love it.
Yeah, and everybody's on the FF wagon all of a sudden. I'm like, bitch, please. And I can go grab my copy of part 1 that's still on my shelf. Like,
I have.
that's exactly, that was my
But-
frustration with that.
Where were they back in when those games came out?
Not even born.
I played these games. I remember getting them. I could tell story. I have told stories of how I got them. But
Yeah.
it's like it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, any new generation can come across something they never experienced before. Black and white films, records, 8-tracks, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fine. But it's this weird thing where you have people that, yes, they may not have been in the know. but then they hated on the stuff.
Yeah, for no reason.
I hate this stuff. RPGs are. I'm not making fun of you, Oz. I'm just saying.
No, I was just giving an evil look.
I mean, they go and sit there and go, "Oh man, RPGs are garbage. They take. You mean I have to take turns to hit something? Well, obviously you've never played D&D. But
when 7 came out, you were a nerd for playing 7. 7 was like, oh, you're a nerd. You play Final Fantasy 7? Like, what are you doing?
But
like,
at that time, you were a nerd if you played video games.
Yeah.
That it was not. It was nothing
exactly.
specific about Final Fantasy 7. It might have
No.
been you're a nerd. You're an RPG nerd. That was.
I just didn't. I didn't care. I mean, like when Zelda came out, everybody was playing Zelda. Everybody was playing OOT because it was like, oh wow, it's Zelda OOT. So Zelda wasn't really like the nerdy, stuff that whatever.
Because Zelda's not an RPG.
And
it is.
then,
It's not. It's not an RPG. But anyway.
Now you're a bigger nerd.
No, Pokemon does not make you a nerd. It makes you what is it when it makes you one of the crowd.
Well,
You're not ahead of the crowd, you're in the crowd.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, no.
No, because I
Pokemon, there is nothing.
Fandom.
There is like people that collect Pokemon game. What is special about that? You throw a rock in the mall, you're gonna hit somebody that knows Pokemon. And it could be a half-empty mall with only 10 people there. Like, Pokemon is one of the biggest franchises in existence.
Now it is.
It really is.
Now it is.
Yes.
Back then it was not.
No, it was very.
But that's the thing is
Pokemon.
Pokemon. I was saying about this. Pokemon is a generational franchise. It is probably one of the best running generational franchises, because you yahoos who played it when you were young, I didn't.
Right.
Hey, I wasn't young. I was 17 when I played the first one.
That's still young because we're all getting close. At least some of us are getting close to 50. But now you share that with your kids and with so many people have played it. Like there's nothing. It's like NES collectors. There's nothing special about NES collectors. They're a dime a dozen. There's nothing.
But don't say that. Don't say that around some of the people in our community. They might come to your house with pitchforks because
Well,
NES hard.
Hey, I'm a Sega guy, and actually, what that means is I like Sega old. Sega new doesn't really even matter, honestly, except for when they bring back some of those old titles.
So I want to hear what Coda's got to say about this because he's been quiet during this.
He's over there taking notes and being like, "All right."
Well, I don't know. I was in the younger group when Pokemon came out, so it was popular. But when we got to middle school and high school, you didn't mention you like Pokemon, but so I could kind of see both sides to that.
He's right though.
So
you're totally right though. They would take I was in high school. They would say, "Oh, why I play Pokemon," and you know what would happen? Like
exactly.
No, because I was the person. Do it, bring it on. And then I had my friends come up, my football friends, and everybody who's like, "Vince is cool. Don't mess with Vince."
Yeah.
That was ready.
High school. High school is a special microcosm of growing up.
Yeah.
Because like Magic the Gathering, that was all the nerdy kids. And so Pokemon was in that same boat. But when we were in high school, I imagine most of us, gaming wasn't necessarily cool. It was geeky, it was nerdy. Same, if you were into
I got into it with this
geeky or nerdy.
This kid Felipe, because he was talking smack about Symphony of the Night, telling me the Legacy of Kain was better, and I told him, let's go outside and take this. Let's go. True story.
To the yard.
Let's go outside to the yard and have a conversation about this, because my bleep is going to go dark metamorphosis on you and show you what that really means, mofo. And we went outside, and I got suspended for 3 days because I put him down. I was a completely different animal in high school, but I mean. You don't talk smack about Castlevania. Yeah, now I'm house trained, but I got married. But I mean, just like it was. Your Coda, right? Is that
Yeah.
that's you are 1,000% correct. When you were growing up, you did not mention Pokemon
I
because
did.
it was like really corny. It wasn't like whatever. It was stupid. Um, no one, everybody, everybody made fun of it. Like I remember being at this girl's house and I was playing like Pokemon Yellow, and she was like, "Oh my god, that game is like really stupid," and I played it, and I really enjoyed it. I liked the collecting OCD aspect of it, finding different variants and stuff, whatever. But you're totally right, though. You would not
Mm-hmm.
talk about stuff like this,
See,
and
I did.
I did, and I didn't give into the fear. I
Nope.
didn't let people choose what my fandom was. And I knew
Exactly.
people that were closeted about what they enjoyed
Mm-hmm.
because it was one of those things that, yeah, you could be, but if like, but I had football players that would come to me and go, "Hey Vince, I'm playing this game. I can't get past this. Can you give me some
Mm-hmm.
tips? What do you got to do?" I even had a dude like I'd had guys that would pay me to help him get past areas or just play the game to get past this boss or something. And I was like, "All right, sure, whatever. Here's your memory
Vince has
card
a one
back."
eight hundred
Right.
line.
where the hell did you
I
go?
mean,
Right.
but I was that because I grew up in Houston. I mean, like it's a different scene here, as far as like in other places in the US. Like
Mm-hmm.
there were like we had kids that were like I think part of it too was because it was a big thing. We had Game Crazy open up right across the street from our school.
Oh,
And it was
that's
there
so
a
sore.
year before I started working there. And I remember going over there and just talking to the guys that ran the store, talking to the kids that would come because we'd have all walks of life. We'd have adults, teens, kids come in, and because they'd have it set up to where you had like they had 4 TVs or CRTs on these platforms and that you could play, and it was like 2 on each side. One would have one console, and the other would have another console, so you could test out your games before you bought them, and they would actually hook up another system. But like Pokemon was big. Pokemon was really big in my school. Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody played it, but like it was one of those things. If you were in the know, you played it, and most people really didn't mess with kids that played with it, even the
Yeah.
teens.
Yeah.
Especially when it became like
Uh,
I was a senior. I was like, you know what, game the way you want to game. You know,
Yeah.
Exactly.
which
That's
is
I
why
was
Like, yeah.
Go ahead, zombie.
I was just gonna piggyback off what Vince said. I was not the type of kid that I never let anybody influence what I was gonna like. I was gonna like what I liked, and if you have that much of a problem with it, we can fight about it, or we can you can go walk away and deal with it. Because even then, my fandoms were my fandoms for a reason. I collected
Mm-hmm.
what I collected. I was into what I was into. I mean, to this day, my mom still tries to get me to get rid of all my childhood stuff, and I'm like, why? Because you got rid of yours? I don't, that's not that. I'm not gonna do that. And I can see the points being shared here because at my point in high school, video gaming was still considered a nerdy thing, but it was on its way out to being socially acceptable. By the time I hit college, video gaming wasn't seen as badly as it used to be. And college is when I actually started meeting more girl gamers. Um, so that was awesome. But Pokemon definitely was one of those things where I could see how some people were afraid to admit that they were fans of it. Me, I didn't care.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I'll slit your throat if you got a problem with me liking Pokemon. I don't give a shit. Because in the end, I'm the
Yeah.
one buying this game. I'm the one playing with it. I'm the one with my plushies on the wall. What are you gonna do
Yeah.
about it?
I mean, I was
Yeah.
suspended. Like, I think I didn't go to ring ceremony. I didn't go to the Letterman jacket ceremony, even though I was like varsity for swimming, and fencing. I did none of it because I was suspended multiple amount of times for fighting people for saying, oh, video games are, like video games
Right.
are gay and all that. And I mean, like it was hard here in New York growing up, and like I it was just the way it is, and
Yeah.
people just it was comic books were great. Everybody loved comic books. Um, oddly enough, toys were kind of like when the Power Rangers dropped, it was like, oh, like you needed all the Power Ranger toys because
Mhm.
like that you were like, you know, awesome.
Yeah, middle school. That was when it dropped for us.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
People were all like so into it.
high school though was like you would. I mean, I remember one time in high school, um, like we were playing Magic cards, and this kid came over and like hit the table and knocked all the Magic cards over, and I stood up at a meeting and said, "You want to go do that again?" And like he got like right in my face, and I was suspended for 2 days, and it was just
How was his face though after that?
I mean, the kid was big. I mean, he was kind of big. So I have like a chipped tooth over here because that fight got very interesting. But I mean, um, no, it really just it became wild because you know this is just the like the way it is. And I was telling my 12-year-old about this about was not because he's playing Minecraft with his friends at 12 years old and they got a server up and running and whatever. And I told him it was not socially acceptable. Like oh, we're
No.
playing.
Mhm.
But when you went into the arcades, it was a different animal. When you
Yeah.
went into the arcades, it was all like you had skills. X-Men versus Street Fighter,
Tekken.
MBC2 or
Mhm.
MBC, Ruby Rose is gonna wreck you. I mean, like just and it was that's where it was NBA Jam. Sports games. Now sports games were acceptable.
Yep.
Like if you played sports games when you were in high school, it was
Mhm.
totally fine. Um, no one cared. That's why Symphony of the Night did so bad. That's why Seven did so bad. That's why FFT did so bad because people didn't. What is this? That's why a lot of this stuff was gated in Japan because Japan was. That's why we didn't get SMT until so many years later because it wasn't like, ew, you play a dating sim. What are you like sitting in your parents' basement? I mean, like
They still do that today, unfortunately.
whatever. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, they do.
I'll sit in my own basement and play SMT. I really could care less.
Yeah, sure.
But I
What of
mean,
it?
it was not. It it wasn't like socially acceptable because high school was the war zone when it came to
Mhm.
stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, and it was like whatever you didn't listen to the Wu Tang Clan, you weren't like me. That you don't know what 36 Chambers is like. You're like what? I don't want to talk to you right now. So it's very interesting going back onto the topic. It's very interesting to see that we're going over to a digital era, and a lot of like all these kids are just like, oh wow, digital, 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 and a lot of these. I think a good factor behind it is a lot of my son's friends who are 12 do not have impulse control or do not know what an impulse control is, and we're seeing an upkick in ADHD, like when it comes to schools and stuff like this, that kids are experiencing like higher levels of ADHD and a lot of like impulsivity. They don't have that impulse control. And what happens with that impulse control is I want it now. I want
Hmm.
like right now. I had to have it 15 minutes ago. I had to
Instant
have it
gratification.
yes, like
Yes.
10 hours
Mhm.
ago. So they don't care if it's digital, they don't
Or
care if it's
physical.
physical, they don't care what it is, but as long as they're getting that endorphin hit when it comes to buying something online and then doing it, it
Yeah.
that's where I feel this is this digital era is going because the physical media, like our generations know patience to wait for a game to come out, and their generation is I need to have this right now, and I don't want to wait. He was
Mm.
downstairs and his friends bought both of them bought the Minecraft Dungeon digital, and he says, I want it. I said, okay, I'll go to GameStop and buy it for you. And it was, why can't I just buy it off of the store? It's right here on another level of convenience as well, because it's just convenient to go to the store and buy it.
Right. I would say the same thing about my son, but he's actually starting to appreciate physical media.
Hmm.
In fact, when we talk about Blu-rays, DVDs, VHS, he's actually curious about what VHS quality looks like. And when he looks at YouTube videos or when he does his own little mini projects, he's always asking, is there a way to make my footage look dated? Is there a filter that makes it look like old television or VHS quality? And I'm like,
Mhm.
why would you want that? Like, aren't you supposed to be the generation that, wants high def and all that shit? And he's like, no, because I want to be able to see what it was like for you. I want to see what you got out of it and if that works for me. Because he listens to music on CD, but if I have it on vinyl, he asks if he can use my records.
Wow.
And one of the points that you brought up about the whole instant gratification got me thinking about um another podcast episode that we had done with toy collecting. As a toy collector, Vince, do you feel that nowadays, I mean, I'm one too, but you've been doing it longer than I have. Um, does it seem very predatory to you that those of us who were collecting toys as kids, that now we have our own income, now we can go out there and pay top dollar to get these re-releases or these redesigns? Do you feel like that kind of approach is being applied to physical and digital media? If that
That's
makes
hard.
sense.
That's hard to say because, like, just for the example, like, I know Ryan used to say that like he collects more vintage, but like a lot of the stuff that we all grew up liking, where I do collect vintage, but most of my stuff is a representation of my memories of it. So like I like classifieds GI Joe figures more than I do the O-ring figures because they look like they came off the screen. They represent my memory more
Mm-hmm.
than the toy itself. So therefore I do collect more modern stuff because I want things that look closest to the animation accuracy because I didn't just play with these toys. I watched the shows and I watched them with my dad. So that way it's a double down of my memories of that stuff.
Like how I don't want just any Transformers. I
Right.
want Transformers the movie variants because of my attachment and
Mm-hmm.
memories to that. You know, uh
Because you
Sky,
can. Oh, go ahead.
what was I gonna
No.
say? Skywarp may be one of my favorites, but do I want every Skywarp? No. Do I
Mm-hmm.
need everyone? No.
No.
I want the ones that's closest to the memories I have of that character and,
Correct.
of the TV show.
Which goes to that thing when Oaz just pulled up Man at Arms and that like the filmation animated figures, they look fantastic.
They are
Like
great.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Yep.
I started collecting Motu whenever they released the 40th anniversary He-Man figure because
Mm-hmm.
that captured what my imagination was as a kid. And I loved the 8-inch style figure, the articulation. And I was like, okay. And then when they started doing the whole new Eternia lines, which were taking the original sketches and if they were and made modern toys of them today, I love that because that
Mm-hmm.
speaks to me. Not like
Right.
me collecting the original figures because I have a traumatic past with the original He-Man figures because my mom gave them all away to some kid and I never able to get them again. So I stopped
Right.
collecting them. Now, the Filmation, they don't look like the originals. They're kind of are, but they're more. They look
Like
cartoon
the
accurate.
cartoon.
And that speaks to me as a collector. And each collector is going to be different on what they enjoy and gravitate to. So
Right.
I don't see like the weirdness that is within the video game sphere for collecting that I do in the toy collecting scene. Now, you can come across guys that are jerks and have attitudes and stuff. That's general. You get that with any memorabilia thing you collect. But
Yeah.
generally, the toy community is very supportive of each other. And they'll look out for you. They may be like out and about and they see something they go and they remembered you said, "Hey, I'm looking for this figure," and they'll go, "Hey, I'm at this place. Do you want it?" And even if you don't have
Right.
the money, they'll go, "You look, I got it. You just pay me back later," and they'll sit on it and then give it to you whenever they can, or whenever you pay for it or whatever. And I don't see that enough with the video game community. I don't see that enough. I don't even see that enough with like just like the streaming community, the retro gaming streaming community. Like there's some really cool guys in our community, but there are a lot of guys that are very ego driven. It's all about stroking that ego. It's all about them, and they don't actually care about building a real community. They don't want to make friends, make
Right.
connections.
They're in it for the
to
numbers.
They're in it for, yeah, for the views and the numbers. And that's, if that's what you want to do, that's fine, but you're not going to get true friendship that way. You're not going to get good fulfillment out of it. And but not even that. Like, you have the scalpers. Scalpers are bad everywhere you go.
Oh, they're the
TCGs,
worst.
Yeah.
video games, movies, anything collectible is always going to be bad for scalpers. Now, you have guys that sit on things, they'll buy things, sit on it, wait for it to increase in value, and then they resell it later. But then you also have resellers. So there's investment resellers, and there's just resellers. They guys that pick up stuff and they resell it so they can, either support the community, or they're actually making money to fund their own collection.
Right.
And you see that a lot with the toy collectors. You see that to extent with gaming, and I would say most collecting is going to be this way too. But I don't see the negative spin or the negativity that we see with video game stuff as bad as, or I mean, I don't see toys being as bad as video game stuff. I really need to rephrase that.
Video games are bad.
But
And-
is there still that certain aspect of, like, because I feel, especially now with being back in the toy scene again, I
Mhm.
kind of feel there is a little bit of that, oh, well, if we continue to make these re-releases, the fans will eat it up and we'll make it in, short supply, like that whole Starscream thing with Target and, canceling all the pre-orders and stuff. Do you see a similarity in the toy collecting world as we might possibly see with the removal of physical media? Like, because I feel like if they do remove all physical media and just resort to digital,
Mhm.
that there is going to be some sort of like, oh, well, if we start re-releasing things in short supply, that'll get people to want to buy it, and like fishing for customers, so to say.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, the problem with this is that you already have customers. This is almost like what Disney did with Star Wars. Disney wanted to do new Star Wars stuff. They wanted to bring in new audiences, but they didn't care enough about the audience that already existed,
Right.
and they burned
Exactly.
them. And that's part of this. The thing too is, like, there are bad aspects for toy collecting. Like, there are a small extent of people that get upset with reproductions, because it is a really small, minute thing. Because it's like, Hasbro re-released the Kenner Ghostbuster figures on card, Ecto One, and they're doing more with like Janine and some of the other vehicles, and it's really great that they're doing this. And real fans eat this stuff up. It's like, hey, cool. It's like, it's a chance for me to actually buy a new version or an old stock re-release of something I enjoyed that's actually made by the manufacturer, and I get to relive that memory. Yeah, I could go to a flea market. I can go to this, try to find these things, and they were actually releasing them for like $14.
Yeah.
When they did the Fright Scare Ghostbusters, they were like 20, but they weren't that bad. But they're in the gaming community. If something gets reproduced, or if it's remade or remastered, they freak the hell out. And it's like, why? Because for them, it's more of this monetary value thing. It's like, oh, it devalues my original product, so therefore I don't like it. But that's not the case. History's shown with video games, like, it doesn't matter if Konami releases the Suikoden collection or the Metal Gear collection, that doesn't affect the market. Like, the fact that Earthbound is on the Switch Virtual Console, that hasn't decreased the value for the physical card. It's actually increased it because more people are playing it and have access to it. Therefore, they're wanting it. They're wanting the original cartridge, which is part of some of the stuff that's going on. With the boom of Silent Hill, with them doing the remake and there has been this like resurgence for like, I want to play these games, and they don't have other avenues to play them other than seeking out the original copies. Because even when they did the HD 2D, I mean HD remakes for remasters for Silent Hill 2 and 3, those games were, if you got the PlayStation version, actually both versions, the 360 and the PlayStation version, had some kind of weird glitch. I think it was the PS3. One of those consoles actually got it patched that fixed it, which made the games playable. And but you don't see people gravitating to those. They're going to go grab the original PS2 versions.
Right, despite how blocky and choppy and everything else they are. Yeah. But I'm curious as to whether or not that's going to happen with the removal of physical media, if they're looking to create this sort of like artificial market, or if they're looking to temporarily suspend it only to bring it back anyway. Like if they're just doing this for a certain duration to see what that actually does with sales. Like the whole new Coke thing. Let's use that as an example. You know, took the original recipe off the market, introduced new Coke. It didn't sell well, so they went back to formula. Like, is this a temporary thing, or is this a for sure done deal where we're just never going to see anything physical anymore, at least from a majority of the companies that are out there?
I think it's a done deal.
I think it's a done deal too. I'm gonna agree with that.
Yeah, I think
This
it's
is about money.
done. But I think it killed off the PlayStation brand, because if
It
you
did.
think about it, the system is going to be over $1,000. They say it could be. So what's the point of buying a PlayStation when you could just buy a PC at that point and whatever
Right.
Nintendo system, comes out next?
The benefit to buying a console is, at least with Sony and Microsoft, they are willing to eat some of the cost of that unit, hoping that they can make it up in the back end. With a computer, you're paying up front. With Nintendo, you're paying the upfront price. Like they're not
Yeah.
they don't subsidize the consoles like Sony and Microsoft do.
Exactly.
There's also a track record with Microsoft with originally when they brought out the first Xbox. That thing was actually supposed to be $1,000, and they cut every unit they sold. They lost, I think it was like $600, $400 to $600 per unit.
Yeah.
Because, and that's why if you look in your memories, look up whatever. The controllers were expensive, the memory cards were expensive, all the accessories were expensive, and they never went on sale. Never.
Nope, they didn't.
So, Anthony, what you got?
Well, if you,
no, go.
no, if you look at the, I don't know if you guys keep up with tech, but if you look at the Mac Neo, I think it's called, it was $500 when it first released. Now it bumped up to $200 with the RAM. They were able to get Cyberpunk running on it, so that's pretty good for a low tech laptop, even though it's one of the best low budget laptops. So I don't know if Apple actually turned to gaming, they could definitely get in the market as well. But I don't know how it's gonna go, to be honest.
I think
that's
because Sony is ramping down production, like that's a done deal. Like they're done. Unless a company is willing to license the technology from Sony, build a plant, which doing some quick looking, upwards of $100 million to make a Blu-ray production facility, like a high quantity Blu-ray production facility. Is the market really there for a company to do that and actually make money off of it? Like, or have a pretty quick return on investment when you got to make put in $100 million and you're selling, and that's not even counting the material that will go in to produce the Blu-rays and everything else, and the money to pay people to run the machines and all of that. Like, what does a return on investment for that look like? So that's why I think if they can come out with another technology, or if Sony is selling those existing machines to somebody else who's licensing the ability to create those discs, then there's maybe something for Blu-ray. But I mean, there's definitely some option for someone else to come up with some new format that is not owned by Sony, and you do this hybrid thing with multiple corporations where a bunch of people own the rights to it. I think that's a possible future. It's some format like SD cards, like Nintendo's doing.
Well, and something else to think about is that they're already going to be making more money repurposing what their dev facility that they had for making discs
Yep.
to make stuff for AI. So if you can do that and you're tripling or quadrupling your income from doing this versus what it was for the cost just to manufacture and sell physical media, you could, if there's a demand for it. But do they want to invest the time, effort, resources to do this is a big question. And I don't know if, like, yeah, it is sad. We are looking at the cusp of losing everything physical. It going into a complete digital space, it being at the whim of them, of the license not disappearing, of it not going into some kind of streaming service like we talked about earlier. And like, yeah, there is a market for vinyl. There's a market for some of this reproduction stuff that's coming out. But when Sony holds the keys to the discs, the physical discs that we enjoy, regardless if it's gaming, but movies and like the hardware, because I'm pretty sure Microsoft had a hand in Sony's decision, because if they're going to make Project Helix a digital console, they're not going to get the money from Microsoft for the optical disc to run a Blu-ray. And on top of that, the disc that they may manufacture for their games as well. So there's a lot of this that we don't know, but we do know that there is a big difference between the numbers stuff that they've been reporting out versus what is actually being reported, like from stuff that we've been able to see ourselves. Or if you do a little bit of research, you can find out.
Yeah, they're not splitting the hairs so you can see all the breakdowns of the different areas. But the thing is, they're not worried about the little hairs.
Mhm.
They're looking at the whole, and as a whole, they're better off not making physical. That's it. It doesn't matter what the end consumer wants. As a company, they are more profitable by getting rid of physical.
There's
That's
a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot
I
that
mean-
goes into it. You got the design phase for discs, the cover, manufacturing all this stuff, getting it shipped, probably some kind of insurance for the stores just in case the product gets stolen or destroyed overseas, because now we know the fact that their main facility for manufacturing discs was out in Australia. When that stuff comes in, it's imported. So we have the tariffs that are on top of that too, that they're having to pay. When you just have to put it on a server and it's just a button you push,
Yeah.
that's, I mean, that across the board is something more beneficial to that company than it is to the consumer. Disguised as, hey, you're going to be able to get your games faster, you're going to be able to have it preloaded, all the benefits that could be. But then if the internet goes out because it requires some kind of DRM to touch online for it to validate that you can play a game,
You've lost
then
access
it's-
to it. And there
you
was
lost
that
it.
example that Microsoft had. It's like, and they even said, like, this is not how it's supposed to work. This isn't how it usually works. But for whatever reason, when the issue that they had, some games were not playable because they were trying to check in and they couldn't. But that's
Yeah.
the thing. There's also different levels of the DRM. There's the stuff that's like, okay, we'll check in once a week. We'll check in once a month. Oh no, and then there's we're constantly checking. While you're playing your game, we are still checking to make sure that you still have the right to play this game and any of the possible DLC that you may have purchased or not purchased. So there's different levels of it. But the cool thing is what is being rumored that Microsoft is doing, and I think they're actually trying to do it, is make it so like the Helix will have a disk drive of some sort, but it will digitize your physical games, which from what I understand is that they will just pull the license from the disk, associate it with your account, and now you don't need your disk anymore. You can play it without having the disc in the drive like you have to do now, which I think is like the best option that there is. Even if the disc has very little of the information on it, because the discs are, then they could go back to DVDs. It'd be like a game key card. But the ability to put a physical disc into your system, it checks for the license, and it's like, oh, hey, do you want to play this off the disc or do you want to download it and be able to play it like a digital game? I think that's great.
Now, the only problem with that, I mean, that's a great idea. The only problem with that is the fact that you got to worry about the fact that now that disc that had this license burned onto it is now attached to this person's profile, meaning that that disc is completely obsolete anymore, and
No.
it means that you can't get rid of it. I mean,
No,
you could.
The license moves with the disc.
Okay.
Is what they're looking at doing, which is cool because, like, if I want to let you borrow a game, I grabbed a cartridge, but I hand the game to you. It pulls the license from me and puts it on your account. So as long as you have that disc and no one else puts it into a system and loads it, you have the right continue to have the right to use it until, so you can still sell it or trade it and loan it out, whatever. And but you still have a physical disc, but you can play it digitally. And so you could have the convenience of digital with physical discs, because that's one of the, like, we're all physical collectors, but how many times have we been like, I don't want to play the game that is installed in that is currently in my system right now. I'm going to go either play something digital or I'm just going to go to something else entirely, because you don't feel like getting up and changing the disc.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
But if you have, you've put all of your games onto your system, licenses associated with it, you've downloaded what your system can hold, and you're like, oh, I can jump from game to game to game. I don't have to worry about, I still have my physical, but it's treated like a digital game. I think that is awesome.
That would be nice, because then you can go and say, hey, if somehow Microsoft loses the code for the license, they go, okay, we know you have this game, so just go ahead and put it back in here for us so we can re-pull it off of there.
Yeah.
That's actually good, instead of it being like, oh, it's a one-time key and it's gone. I mean,
Yeah.
could you imagine, like, back in the day with the old PC games where you had to have a license key or something, where you had to go into the manual and find some particular word at this particular point and put it as your key, because it was
That was
you knew time
hard coded into the game DRM.
Yeah.
Which some of the ways that some of the companies did it was actually interesting and smart. Like Starflight was like kind of an outer space sim. You'd be flying around and you'd have the police pull you over, and you had your code wheel and you had to enter in the right information, and then they'd let you go. Well, there was one version that I played. You could kill all the police car or police ships, and then you could go on and keep playing. Like, it might take you a while, and it was like they were the hardest opponents in the game, but if you got good enough, you could beat them.
That's awesome.
It was really fun. It was a really cool way of doing it.
That's a way to do, like, tongue in cheek, because people are going to pirate your game, and it's like, okay, well, if you could do this, we'll allow it.
It's gonna, like, they make it in a small annoyance, but at the end, like, it was kind of fun for me, because you get to a point, it's like, oh, if you use this strategy, you can take them out one by one, because there was multiple ships. But
so I want to bring over to the next topic real quick, and then but this one, so there are companies within the game industry right now that are not behind Sony. One of them being Sega. Sega's president, Shuji Utsumi, recently said the company still values the culture of physical media. And even while arguing the expanding digital distribution is important to Sega's growth. So they're looking at options. We have the director for Final Fantasy Remake, the Revelations, say that, hey, I really would love to push to make sure that Revelations has a physical disc, which is one of the big things I'm afraid of. But there's been a lot of companies that have been trying to, like, Take-Two said some stuff. There's been, they're doing their thing.
So BGP VGP, basically, I know them, and um, good friend of mine, and he basically VGP was saying that they are going to look at re-releasing games, and they re-released Siberia for PS3, which is a notoriously expensive game. They are looking at re-releasing games. They don't care. They are in it with limited run to try to figure something out moving forward. A problem he did bring up was the fact of, and I agreed, fan service now, because really you're not going to be having anything, and you're. I heard somewhere that Sony said that if they want physical, then we'll just make plastic boxes with cover arts and include a key inside of it, like a piece of paper with a key, and you can just download that. Which is what they did for Horizon, the second Horizon. There was no physical disc. I believe it was just if you bought the collector's edition or whatnot. It was just the paper that was in it. He feels that there's going to be fan service.
But I think that's Sony doesn't understand. Like, people don't want just a box to put on the shelf, because we could all take the time to print out a little cover, stick it in a sleeve, and put it on the shelf.
But that was
People don't want to do that.
That was Sony's explanation. I think that, and I don't know, and I'm not going to say it's factual, but I've heard that something Sony's on the lines of that.
I think I heard the same thing, but that also shows they don't understand what physical collectors want. They don't, we don't want a physical box or just a physical box. We want a physical game media.
It's tangible that we can utilize.
And getting back to like with the topic with this and there being companies, NIS America, I'm a very big supporter of NIS America. I've always been, and Marvelous. And I have most of their stuff. You can tell them that the shelf, like over there, that is not a reptile tank. So what's crazy about this is they're willing to push, they're willing to make games and stuff, but now that is for the Switch. And a lot of energy is now going to Nintendo for physical games and for collector's editions. And they said, sure, we'll make you the collector's edition for PlayStation 3, and we'll include a code in it if you still want to buy a PlayStation 5 or 6, whatever, game with the code. And I said, oh, okay. I mean, it's interesting. But what we're going to do is we're going to see like a fan service from Sony, where it's going to be, okay, our first-party titles, or if you want like a collector's edition for it or something like that, you're going to do this, but we're only going to give you a code and that's it. And we're still going to see this garbage collector's edition stuff with codes, and they're going to go to a streaming service where it is all going to be basically cloud-based, or their store where you can buy stuff from the store, and that's it. And to drop the bomb on this, my cousin, this is totally wild. My cousin, I say my cousin, who's really a very close friend of the family, his cousin got married, and they had the wedding, and the video photographer recorded everything. The video, his cousin said, when can we have the CD? The video photographer said, it's all digital, it's in the cloud, you can pull it down, you have 30 days to do this, and then we take it off the cloud. If you don't do it in 30 days, you have to pay us to pay a subscription to keep your wedding video and photos on the cloud. That is wild.
Yep.
Wild.
It's again, that's something that should have been discussed before they agreed to have that guy do the video. Because but the thing is, it's like that is actually a better option than what Sony is offering, because they, oh, okay, I download it, I put it on a hard drive, I put it on a flash drive, I burn it to a DVD, a Blu-ray, a CD, whatever.
But can
But
I?
it's again, it's the general lack of somebody of consumer not doing the due diligence. Like the problem is like we haven't been um kicking up enough dust in the past
Well,
because
no, that's true.
it's so easy. Uh,
I don't think it's fair that when you pay $15,000 for a video photographer, that if you want your stuff there more than 30 days, um, you have to pay a subscription service to have your
Yeah,
winning
through what,
videos.
Canva, or what is the other camera software?
It's something that they did. I don't. It's on the web hosting service. But this is
but
what's
obviously
gonna.
they didn't ask the question beforehand.
No, they didn't. But it does. It
No,
does.
they didn't. But it was under the general assumption that yeah, we're gonna get CDs and all the other stuff, and I don't think that was even like it was noted. But it,
I'm sure
it's
if there was a contract signed, it was all in there. Somebody did not
probably
the
probably
fine print. Um, but like I don't actually see any issue with any of that.
My problem is that here's my thing about this fanfare nonsense, honestly, because that's what it sounds like to me is nonsense. They're going to spend more money on these collector's editions to produce all this extra stuff when they could just release discs that they
yes,
already had in place to manufacture.
yes,
But they can produce less and charge more.
Mhm.
I mean, it becomes
Yeah.
a niche at that point.
But I think physical is going to be a niche. That's
I mean,
that's where it's going to go.
it's being forced to be that way. And right now, the good thing right now is that unfortunately for Sony and Microsoft, Nintendo has the best deal out of this.
yeah.
Nintendo's like, oh, you know what? You guys want? You're gonna. Hold on, first off, not Nintendo. It's like as Nintendo talking to themselves. So we're gonna guarantee to have lifetime fans buy our product for the next 30 plus years, guaranteed revenue. Of course, we're going to manufacture physical media. It's in their best interest to.
Yep.
I know for a fact. I will not be buying Sony. I will not be buying the new system for Sony, and only select games I'll be buying, and that's it. But the rest of it will be Nintendo moving forward. I will be buying a lot of Switch games, and that's about it because I would like to own my media, and I don't want to, and I don't want it to be on some site or something like that.
Well, we all want to own our stuff.
It's
Yeah.
just it's ridiculous though. But I mean, getting back to the topic at hand is Play Asia. I've never bought from Play Asia before, and I just got some stuff in from Play Asia. I was very impressed with their communication, the way it was shipped, and everything like that. Um, Now, if this means I'm going to have to buy from Play Asia when they do releases and everything, then fine, then so be it. If I have to find stuff here and there, it's just kind of crazy like that. These companies are fighting back, and limited run VGP with his reprints and just
Strictly
saying
limited. There's a lot of them.
yeah, strictly limited 8-bit. I feel we're definitely going to have a resurgence in retro. There's no question about it.
Oh, yeah.
We're definitely.
The birth of that right now is going to be coming out in 2 months or 3 months, and that is
What for retro?
the Neo Geo.
Yeah, the Neo Geo.
AE plus
AES.
that right there. Like I said it back when they announced it, that it's going to be a shot across the bow to Sony and Microsoft, and even Sega and Nintendo. The fact that a new re-release of a console that was super expensive is now being remanufactured at an affordable cost with the games that can play on original hardware and can play the original games on the new hardware, with the option to be able to hook it up to your modern TV and a CRT, and it only costs you $250. That's insane. Now,
Yeah, that's awesome.
I have
Yeah.
not. And to be honest, guys, we haven't talked about this. But with the war going on and everything, especially the stuff that going on in Dubai, I don't know how that's going to factor in and change certain things, but I hope it doesn't. Because as long as they can get that stuff manufactured and met the demand across the world for the people who pre-ordered this, it's going to make a big statement. Because if people buy a machine that is designed to only play physical media versus buying a $700 to $900 system that's 5 years old, speaks volumes.
See, we don't know right now, Vince, if it's good. And I have a very strong feeling that so Nintendo and probably Sega and other systems, like other whatever, they're probably looking back and saying, okay, like we put out these little, systems, like the TurboGrafx Mini, we put out minis or whatever it is. That's great. Let's really see what happens with this Neo Geo. And if I was Nintendo, I would be having uh, what was the terminology, soliloquy or something with myself, where I would be having those internal conversations, saying, well, if this Neo Geo does really well and everybody's buying it and this was like stupid expensive and everything else, like why don't we put out a system that can play Nintendo games and Super Nintendo games and like and N64 games and release this and like try to re-release, some games or so. They like Nintendo's very hardware centric, so they're very, like the Virtual Boy got released with the, with the goggles and all the other stuff. So maybe there is going to be a hardware thing that Nintendo was going to release where you can play stuff, or they might like release cartridge-based games for the Switch. Maybe finally OWASP will get that damn, Switch hard Switch.
Yes,
Switch heavy.
Switch heavy is what he said.
The
Yeah,
Switch heavy. Like maybe and maybe they'll be like, well, it's portable, and here it is with this. And maybe Nintendo will do that. This is a very weird, this is a very weird time going forward with video games, because we have all the companies that are producing that are producing remarket, aftermarket games or all this other stuff, that are trying to do everything to push it out. And we have Nintendo leading the forefront with all of this and saying, okay, we're still going to do whatever we do at Nintendo, and we're still going to make collector's edition, Switches and all that other stuff and go from there. Honestly, it's a very interesting time, and I will support. I wrote an email. I sat down and used Copilot to kind of formulate my thoughts, and teaching the instruments that are gonna control us. And basically, I knew you would get that, but I sent it off to NIS America, and I said, listen, I have been fans of you guys since the PSP. I love your stuff, as always falls asleep. And
I've heard the story several times.
Well, yes, well, we talked a lot, or was. And they wrote back to me, and they said to me, yeah, it's cool and everything like this. They gave me 15% off on their store or whatever. But I mean, it was great to hear back from them saying thank you for all your support and stuff. And I just I really implore people to go out and look at those companies that are trying to do physical.
Yeah.
Even if it's like 8-bit retro put out Gaiares, or El Viento and stuff like that. You're still supporting them because they are still
Evercade or the Sonic 1 and 2 re-releases.
I mean, that's $100 on each game. Forget that was.
Those things, it's how well they do. Just like the NES, not the Neo Geo AES Plus. It's really gonna set a tone for, okay, what do people actually want and are willing to pay for? Like, I'm not willing to pay $100 for Sonic 1 or Sonic 2 or Sonic 3 or Sonic and Knuckles. But if they did a collection of Sonic 1, 2, and 3 in one cartridge and it was $100,
Yeah.
I would probably buy that.
Oh yeah, when I spent my money on
So just going back on the thing that Anthony did, I actually did you take the idea I did when I mailed off or emailed Hasbro for trying to get on their press stuff?
I thought about it. I really thought about it, and what I think honestly, you were the inspiration of me sending off of NIS America, because you said that you like to support people and you like to buy it digitally and then physically as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I kind of thought to myself, like I said I have so many of your games, like a lot of NIS America games.
I'm your biggest fan. Really, I am.
And if I wrote, I mean, I don't think Square would have the time to read the love letter that I would send to them, and they probably would block me, thinking I'm some psycho in my parents' basement. But I mean, it felt good to say, listen, I'm backing you up in these weird times, and I really hope you guys move forward with this stuff.
Well, that's all it takes, right? All it takes is us standing up as consumers, as fans, and writing letters to these people. The more of the letters they get, they can kind of understand like how important this is. It's one thing to go and rage online, go on Twitter, make videos and stuff like that. Half the time they're not even going to watch or read that stuff. But you send it to one of their PR emails and say, hey, look, like this is how I feel. Like what's going on? The more people that do that, yeah. But don't go and say, you guys are trash and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, yes, what they're doing is trash.
Mm-hmm.
But like a lot of times is like these guys are detached from reality. They don't understand what it's like for individuals or consumers, collectors to want these things and why it's important. It's also a cultural difference. And I'm not trying to give Sony an excuse for what they're doing. I do get it from a business standpoint. But you're going to lose more making this decision right now than coming up with a better plan.
They don't care.
They may not care, but they're gonna care when it hits their pocketbook. When they announce the fact that PlayStation 6 comes out, they get all the details and they give all the stuff, they give the price, they're going to get deratioed on all those videos. Any events, any what is it, the state of play that comes out where they're gonna announce anything like this. Like, could you imagine like this happening with E3 still around?
It was kind of like when Nintendo was showing Mario Kart footage and doing those streams, and all of the comments were lower the price, lower the price, lower the price, lower the price, and that was almost all the people were posting. I mean, when Sony,
hey, and guess what? Nintendo game,
the joystick, or was it
the arcade stick? Yeah, which I wanted to get.
Like, oh look, it's something physical. They got ratioed because like you're getting rid of physical and then you're coming out and advertising something physical. Like there's a reason for it.
They got ratioed for the patent that got leaked for the buttonless controller.
I hadn't heard that.
I'm gonna use my psychic ability to control the game and attach the controller to my brain like I'm Neo in the Matrix, man.
Hey, Atari attempted that years ago.
Am I not surprised?
I mean, if I can be Akira with mental abilities and all this other stuff, I don't think I'm playing video games.
Right.
No. Yeah. I'm going to the bank.
I'll go get all the physical copies of the games that I can't afford right now. One point that I wanted to bring up that I've been really, really reflecting on ever since we started doing this whole episode, and Oaz brought up that, Sony owns Blu-ray and all these other things. If you remember your gaming history, Coleco, with the ColecoVision, had the expansion module that allowed it to play Atari 2600 games on its console.
Yes.
So imagine if Nintendo gains the ability to do that. They release a peripheral that allows you to play the older software, if you still have the discs, if you still have the cartridges, on their console, since the other companies gave up making physical media. How would something like that possibly work?
I mean, technically speaking, you could. What would happen is it would just be like some sort of breakout board that would have the connections for, like, let's say either the Super Nintendo or the N64 or something like that. So it would be like the same concept as you would be dumping your ROMs from the cart onto your computer, and it would just be like a USB port into the Switch, and you would put your cartridge in there, and it would dump the game onto your Switch, make like a virtual key card, and then from there you could just play your game like that. The real question would be, can you, like, could I say, hey, Vince or Zombie, like, I just dumped my copy of Hagane, like, you guys want to play it, and share those virtual key cards all around.
With
That
Hagani, no, because licensing issues.
right, right. I mean, licensing issues would be humongous problem, but
I'll let I'll
Well,
let I'll let you guys go, and I want all y'all to answer this, and I'll answer it after.
go on.
I
Um,
choose you, Owaz.
I was actually going to kind of shift gears a little bit, but it's kind of along the same lines. There's still a format being produced that holds less data that all of these current systems could run, called DVD. We've talked about games that were multiple discs. What's wrong with companies going, well, Sony's quitting Blu-ray, but there's plenty of people making DVDs. Let's put it on a DVD.
No,
But going back to what,
it's a read format problem. That'd be the only thing I would see, because yes, a DVD.
Yeah.
The difference between them is the encoding and how they're run.
yeah,
So
but
a game may not perform as good because if it's running, most games are installed now.
yes, all games are installed now.
Yes.
Going back to what Zombie was talking about, I think there'd be an issue with, is this something that, like, say it attaches onto the back of the Switch, it has a little ribbon cable, you plug in the SD card into the game slot, and then you plug your cartridge into that. And then you can, so it's backwards compatible that way. That definitely seems like it'd be a device that could be made, and as all that would be needed is an emulator on the Switch that could then read the file that was dumped.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then you're taking the Switch, you're adding something that's gonna be somewhat bulky compared to how, you're gonna double or triple the thickness of what the Switch is, because the cartridges, if you think about it, SNES cartridge is thicker than the Switch is, and the
Right.
Switch 2 is. And if you had it docked, what does it look like then? I mean, it would be cool. I mean, like Sega did it with the power base converter, so you could play Master System games. Super
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo did it so you could play Game Boy games. So
Yep.
it's not unheard of. But I don't know if a lot of these companies see the value in it, unless they're re-releasing cartridges too. And then that would basically be Nintendo would be re-releasing first-party cartridges. That's probably
Because
it.
they're gonna have to get the license to get the other games.
So because if you look at the backwards compatibility the Xbox One and Series X have with the 360 and the Xbox, they said, we will do all of the work. Just give us the okay to do it. And how many games are not backwards compatible outside of games that were made by Microsoft from the 360 and the original Xbox? There's quite a few, and it's all because the creators did not want to give Microsoft the okay. And I mean, their games could still be on the digital storefront if they were. You can buy 360 games digitally for the Xbox Series X and S and the Xbox One, because some companies said, "Oh yeah, sure, that's cool, do that." But there's lots of companies that said absolutely nothing.
Or they're out of business, or they've been
Mhm.
incorporated into another one because they were purchased, and then they
Yeah,
just get lost.
yeah.
I'm curious as to what lengths these companies will go to, you know, stay relevant in that way and still provide the consumer the option to either go digital or go physical? Like, are they going to go out of their way to help those that want physical gain that physical media, or find a way to utilize and preserve what they have? I'm just curious about that.
So, Coda,
Sadly, I don't think most of them are going to be willing to go very far.
No.
what's your thoughts, man? Coda, what's your thoughts on it with the question and everything?
Well, I don't know. I think you guys have basically covered it, but you know, like kind of going back with the Neo Geo a little bit is if like a lot of these companies saying that they support physical media, maybe they should support like maybe making some, you know, games for the Neo Geo and pushing it out on there. Like maybe Sega, you know, they you know they said they were doing it, but maybe they made like a new RPG, or any company, you know, Square make a new RPG strictly for the Neo Geo or fighting game. Doesn't really matter. Just for that, and push out a physical format just of that. I think that would be a good idea, you know, if companies did that. And then if that sold dramatically, then that would definitely that would definitely show them that we want physical games for that area, you know. So that, you know, but I think a lot of these companies are just saying that to stay on people's good sides, like, oh, we're gonna support it, but we're not actually gonna support it, you know. So so
They're just trying to fill a gap.
Yeah.
That's in.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes down to it, they're just trying to fill a gap and, like, you know, just try to keep their money flowing or whatever it is like this. I mean,
Yep.
I've always found NIS America to be very generous with their collector's editions and stuff that they come out with, and the prices of their their collector's edition games. So I think they're fair enough, but yeah, I would like to know. I don't think Square really gives to anything about when it comes to this.
I think the some of the the directors and some of the creators do, but it's more of the fact that they don't have that much say within the company itself to make that kind of financial system.
Maybe they're in duality,
and it could be. And then going back to what Zombie said, or asking the question, I don't see, because like I looked at it this way. You know, the ColecoVision having an attachment that allowed you to play Atari games, two different companies. So I was trying to think, how do you factor that in for other game companies on a Nintendo platform? Well, most of it just can be done through their digital system. But if you want to look at it through something that OWASP says, you could technically make a new dock for your Switch that allows you to insert cartridges into that system and then be able to play it through your Switch. It reads it. As long as you have that dock, you can put your Super Nintendo games in. You can put your Nintendo, your all your Nintendo brand products in there that you own, and be able to play it off your Switch, running off an emulator. Because we already know they're running an emulator with their virtual console.
Yeah.
They got the Genesis on there, the Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, 64, the GameCube, all that stuff on there. So it wouldn't be hard for them to do that again. And we knew they did that with the Wii originally and the Wii U. You had TurboGrafx, you had Neo Geo, you had quite a few other companies that were allowing them to put games on there. So it could be done. And like, you could actually think about it like this way. Then you could do a Switch heavy. And for those who don't know what OWASP was talking about, and we mentioned that, I know Coda doesn't know, but like, what if Nintendo released a Switch that wasn't portable, that was just a console? Because most people don't want to take it on the go. The only time they ever play their Switch is because it's hooked onto the dock and it's on their TV, and they go from there. There's a good percentage of people that play that way. Not as many as that take it on the go, but I'm pretty sure it's a significant amount of people that they could invest in that if they wanted to. So, and then going into the Neo Geo aspect of it, the cool thing is that the specs on the Neo Geo, I think, are equivalent to like what correct me if I'm wrong, the Naomi engine for Sega Genesis for their arcade boards. So
Mhm.
could you imagine like this taking off and Sega's like, hey, look, you guys are doing great. Why don't you port some of our old arcade games on these carts and release it? This gives
Mhm.
like Neo
Mhm.
Geo a whole new window because that was the biggest thing is like a lot of the Neo Geo hardware, I mean the games were internal. There was
Yeah.
very few third-party developed games for them. But could you imagine like Sega games running on that? Could you imagine like Square Enix stuff going? Could you imagine like a
Yeah.
release of Chrono Trigger that has like some enhanced audio? It actually has the cutscenes
The
from the PlayStation.
FMVs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be amazing. And then that would like you could totally change the market by having a console that is inexpensive to get that has the option to play old games on a hardware that originally didn't exist for it. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
have like this retro
Oh, yeah.
boom, like you wouldn't believe if something like that were to happen.
Yep.
And then we don't know like what it could do because it could probably play PlayStation 1 games on there.
Mhm.
I mean,
Wow.
I'd have to look at what the file sizes were for the carts, but if you played any Neo Geo arcade game or the system itself, AES or the NVS, you know like how beautiful and gorgeous those games were. And they
Oh
were
yeah, they're definitely
arcade
beautiful.
perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So the sky's the limit on how this goes. So, and hopefully it does change something. So, I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on that? And I want to go into the last two things because I know we've been going
Okay.
a while. But
Well,
I
yeah.
enjoyed this conversation. I would love to continue, but I don't know if someone wants to sit through a 6 hour 6 hour podcast. I'm gonna have to
Just
break
cut
it
it
into
off.
two
Hoping
episodes.
the late
Yeah,
the
Cut it off.
latency is really good.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like have you guys played on the Retron 5?
Yes.
Have any of you? Okay, I hate the latency on a lot of the
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm hoping if they actually implement any of that, the latency is spot on, of course. So.
Well, and then like that's the thing about like having a Pi, like the Pi 5.
Hmm.
You know,
Oh,
there is
nice.
no latency with this because I mean there's a slight, it's very minute, but like you connect your controller to this wired, so you're not
Hmm.
getting that latency. I mean, because there is a slight from analog to digital, there's a slight latency there, but
Yeah.
a lot of time the latency comes from that wireless signal connecting to the game and the input lag and timing. Because I just think about like whenever they did the NES Mini and Punch Out, the lag on that was pretty bad. The
Hmm.
timing on that,
Yeah.
and that was wired versus wireless. But anything before I move on to the next topic?
What's the topic?
So the biggest thing about this is, and all this is really accumulating to this. Besides the fact that we're moving to this all digital future, we have the RAM crisis and the AI versus consumer electronics because everything is being directed to these data centers, which is where all these games are going to be housed. All information will be housed on these data centers that will be governed by AI, and it's affecting the consumer electronics because it means that you may not be able to buy that new iPhone at the price it was supposed to be at originally because the RAM that they use in it isn't being manufactured because other RAM is being prioritized for other purposes. So, and like right now, you have Samsung, SK, and Micron, who are the major players in memory, and the explosion of AI infrastructure has made high manageable servers AI memories extremely attractive for companies. So everybody's trying to get into the bandwagon of creating their own data centers, AI boom, and because it's going to make them tons of money. So it's like we're being left in the dust for any kind of consumer things. And it's almost like it's a pacification. Oh yeah, we'll do this until you're too old to not care. Because right now you think about the percentage of people that are playing that actually care about physical media, it is within the 55 to 35-year-old range. I mean, there are some younger, there are some older that may want physical media, but I think the big demographic is between that age range now. And you think about the fact that 10 years, 20 years, I mean, I'll be 55 in 10 years, 20 years, I'll be 65. Like, am I really going to be caring about gaming at that point?
Probably not.
Am I going to be alive at that point? You know, we don't know. There's too many variables of things that could happen. But it's like, we're talking about a thing that's such a finite amount of time that could go away at any moment. And they're looking for a quick buck.
Mm.
So, I mean, what's your guys' thoughts?
I mean, the market could shift tomorrow. I mean, that's the thing is they're trying to get while the getting's good, and that's why the consumers are the low man on the totem pole, because where is the money coming from? It's quicker and easier to take it from these big corporations who are spending a bunch of money because they want to be at the front of the line with the data center and AI boom. So, I mean, if we're willing to pay, $500 for a 128 gig stick of memory, then we'd be front of the line if everybody was willing to do that. But we're not.
We don't even have the money for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing is, the money is what gets you to the front of the line. If you're paying the bills, you're at the front of the line. It stinks for us. I mean, like, I've been putting off building a new computer for 2 or 3 years, and now I'm going to be putting off building a computer for as long as I can, unless I come across a great deal, because my computer is 10 years old. I'm hoping that, something happens so I can get a decent computer before Windows 10 stops being supported, because I'm on Windows 10 still. I still prefer
it's already not supported, but it exists.
It is still supported, but it's if they
not
could
longer receiving updates. Yeah, they're not receiving. It's not receiving any updates.
Oh no, it is. I got an update yesterday, and it took forever to apply. So it's still getting security updates, and I think there's another year of it. Okay. But
I looked up because I couldn't believe this, but DDR5 64 gigs Corsair is $952.
Yep.
I'm in amazement by this. Wow.
That's why it's like the thought of buying, like, as of before the AI boom, right? You're looking at like last year before, about if you wanted a top of the line computer with the best RAM, memory, graphics cards of 5090 for whatever, like gaming, just hard peak gaming, you're looking at $3,000 to $4,000. We're at the point right now where it's going to cost us 10 grand to get the equivalent of.
The 5070 is expensive too. It's $1,400.
Well, the thing is, the price of all that is going up because time, money, facilities, the whole kit and caboodle is being geared towards the higher end paying customers.
Yep.
And because that's where they're making more money, hand over fist. And
because DDR4 and 5 RAM is not the same type of RAM that they're manufacturing. So they're literally taking all resources, all manufacturing, and putting it to these corporations in these data centers. And on top of that, they're looking at the fact that most RAM and resources will be dedicated to this boom until 2030. So, I mean, we're going to be dealing with this for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get worse.
I don't foresee it getting better after that either. Yeah. It's just going to get worse.
Yeah, because after so say the AI stuff crashes, or not crashes, but settles down. Well, now all the people that have been waiting, like me, to get new hardware, new or whatnot, are all going to be scrambling to get stuff. So that'll keep prices high still, because just like the retro game market, going up, there's only so much demand, and as soon as supply starts outpacing demand, prices start going up.
Yep.
Because
exactly.
it's kind of silly for the corporations to be like, well, we can't keep it on the shelves, and we're still charging the same prices. No, we can't keep stuff on the shelves, so we're going to charge more because people are willing to pay it. And when that stops being the case, then we start dropping the price.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're also looking at the fact that the PS6 and Project Helix could end up being like $1,200.
Yeah,
and that's going to change before the systems even come out.
Yep.
We could probably be close to paying $2,000, and it's like, well, then I could just go buy a PC. Yeah, I'd like to see you go try to buy a PC for what you're going to try to get for that amount once this boom happens. I mean, like, people don't pay attention. They're not researching this stuff. And like, oh yeah, we have friends that are like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go back to retro, and it's like, okay, well, talk to me when you can't find the game that you're looking for that used to be $6 that's now $300. Contra is going to end up being like 200. I mean, like, because there's only so much demand. I mean, so much product for the demand. So the only option is going to be to buy like a retro Pi, and I would buy one now and then emulate everything. I'm not saying to pirate, but that's what's coming down to, because we don't even own anything.
No.
If a license is required, and like they can go and sit there and take away a license from a game, and you no longer have it, it's like, did you really buy it? You just rented it for a long. You paid $60 for a rental versus $5 for a rental.
But that's part of the problem is, I was talking about that earlier, is if you're paying $60 for a digital game that you don't own, should you really be paying $60 for it?
Mm-hmm.
Should you be waiting till it goes on sale? And then you got to figure out, okay, what's the price that I'm willing to pay for something that is going to be a long-term rental? Because unless digital rights management stuff changes, it's all long-term rentals. And if you go in with that mindset, it's like, is it worth it to spend $60 for a game you don't own? That's up to you to decide.
Yeah.
And we all make our choices based on whatever. But for me, the answer to that is no, unless, again, I'm supporting the developer.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That doesn't happen often.
Well,
because sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I was gonna change the subject, but in a way that still goes along with what you're saying. Go ahead and you finish your thought, and I'll say it.
But that thought's gone.
Okay. Did y'all hear about what happened on Nintendo? About the fact that there was a game on the let me pull it up. But there was a game that got delisted, people paid for, that was recent. And people were up in arms because it disappeared off their store. And I think actually for people to be able to play it too. What game was recently?
While you're looking at that, makes me think, it's like, we need to be asking questions about these games, especially licensed games. Is what is the term of license for this game? Because you ask that question, then you know how long you have for a long-term rental. Like that Godzilla game you guys were talking about earlier. What if everyone had known that the license term for that game was 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, or whatever, then you have a long-term digital rental from 10 years from the date it was released.
Yep. And so here you go. So the arcade-style racing game Cruisin' Blast was quietly removed from the digital Nintendo eShop late in June 2026. Additionally, this is the one actually that people get upset about, was the cloud version of Alien Firestorm or Fireteam Elite was completely shut down and rendered unplayable in August 2026 following an earlier delisting. And people were
still
upset.
Playable everywhere else.
Yep. Only on Nintendo it was
but only on the Nintendo was it. And that might have been speculation, low player count, cut off the servers, it's gone. But also, there's the Fire Team 2 that's getting ready to launch.
Yep.
So did that
Yeah.
play a role in it as well?
Delisted earlier this year, its servers were permanently shut down, permanently switched off in August 2026, leaving digital owners unable to stream or play the game. So you can't even play it offline, which is
Yeah. And that's unfortunately that's just gonna get more and more common, because when these games have to check into a server, when the company folds or just decides it's time to flip that switch and they don't want to pay for that server anymore, your game's done. Doesn't matter if you own a physical copy of it or not. If it has to check in so that you can even play it, when that license server goes down, bye bye to that game.
Mm-hmm. One of the other topics was that gaming is getting more expensive. This naturally leads into pricing. Hardware, memory, games, subscriptions have all faced upward pressure. Reporting this year has described increasing, feeling like a luxury hobby as hardware and software prices raise. And it talks about games going from 70 or are now at $70 to $80 subscriptions, internet, digital only storefronts, no used game market, which is one of the things we're going to have to face with any of this going forward. The ability to resell and purchase.
Yep.
Well, and the thing is, there could be an option for you to be able to resell digital games or your digital license, but no company has gone through and messed with it. But all it is even if it's you sell it back to the storefront, and then they can sell it off at their leisure, but then there's like like you said, there's no used game market. I don't think you could say that you're selling a used license because you're not. I don't think there could be a price difference between okay, I had a used license, I sold it back to the storefront, and Coda bought it. Well, why would they change the price between those? Because for them it's just this bit of information goes from here to here.
There. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but if there's a way where I could sell it straight to Coda, that would be interesting. And then the storefront, Steam takes a cut of it. But as long as he and I are okay with it, then what does it matter? But
exactly.
Unfortunately, as soon as you introduce that, your account now has value to somebody else. Which means if I can go in and I can steal Zombie's Steam account, I can sell off their games, and then they are gone from that account.
Yep. You hack in, steal it, and sell it. Yep. I mean, you think about Steam already has a way to sell digital items.
Yep.
And they used to have I think they had some kind of auction system too. But
they have a market, because I've sold because they had the cards that you'd collect as you played games.
Sales, yeah.
Yeah, I'd bought and sold some stuff on there because I think Terraria. I was like, I want to get all the cards for this one, so I opened all the packs I could. I sold cards from other games, and I used that market. I sold enough to buy what I needed. So there's ways of doing it, and I think it could be done well. But again, when you introduce that, then there's a problem with your account now. Like I said, has a lot of value. Could have a lot of value to somebody else.
Mm-hmm. You think of how bad it is with Pokemon cards.
Oh,
If in Pokemon stores, I mean the actual people that have their own little TCG stores, it would be even worse than that.
Not even worth having product at that point
on the digital space.
Yeah.
So last two things, you guys heard about that Stop Killing Games is trying to link up with the people that are fighting the digital Sony to try to stop Sony and sue them for
Yeah.
what they're doing.
Mhm.
Who?
Stop
So-
Killing Games. It's a movement over in the UK, basically to stop live service games from being able to remove access. Actually, I don't know if that's the right.
Oh, okay.
Make it so that companies cannot release a
A
product.
broken product.
Yeah, a broken product, because as soon as the servers go down, you can't play the game anymore, or stuff like that.
Like Alien Fireteam Elite.
Yeah,
You know, because like remember back in the 360 days, you had the Shadowrun game that was online perpetually, and then they discontinue it, shut down the servers, and you could play it with bots, but at least you could still
Yeah.
kind of play it, but you couldn't play it to its fullest. There would be games that were released that once the servers were down, they're gone. And you
Yeah.
couldn't play the game at all. And that's what they're trying to fix. There's been some racing games and other stuff, like you'd buy these extra cosmetics or things like that. If you put money into this, that you should be able to utilize. Think of like
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 11 or 14 or WoW. Like once those go down, the servers are down. You can't play them, but people can
Mhm.
host those servers. But
That'd be horrible.
they feel that game manufacturers should leave a game in a state that can still be playable once the servers go down.
Yeah.
in some form. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
like, obviously you're not going to have online play
Mhm.
through that, like, but like they want it so that you can still get some use out of your game. I really wonder how much Sony can be held liable for being like, well, we're not going to produce games. Because how do you tell a company, we are going to force you to produce X product? You could. I don't think you can.
Yeah,
You
you
might be
really
able to say
can't.
you need, because you're going to have the only storefront where these games can be purchased. You can't do that. So you're going to have to open it up so that, say, Squeenix can have their own storefront to sell their PlayStation, their version of PlayStation games for your console. They can cut out your storefront. That way, yeah, like, you're going to still get a cut, but you're not going to get as big of a cut because they're not going to be on your storefront. And so every publisher now has a storefront to sell games, to play games on a console, which that just gives me a headache
A mess. Yeah,
thinking
that'd be a
about it,
mess.
because the number of storefronts or stores that EA has one now, Ubisoft has one, like,
Epic.
Yeah.
crap, the people that make Unreal, Epic
Yeah, Epic. Yeah.
has one.
Mhm.
And I mean, Epic tries hand over fist to get people on their store.
Oh yeah.
They give
Oh,
you a free
like,
game
so
like
many
once a
games.
month. Yeah.
Like, it's crazy, and it's so fractured that it's like it stinks. But you have itch.io where you can buy, they have some DRM free games, and you've got GOG. So it's interesting. Like I said, I don't think they can force them to keep making physical, but maybe it'll split it so that the publishers can be like, okay, we have more control over what we sell our games for over here on our platform, and that they don't have to do that, but they can if they want to.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
So last question of the night, guys. Where does this end? We kind of already talked about it, but I mean,
Nuclear war.
yeah, right. Rise of the Machines.
Skynet, supernova,
We take
If
off
he-
and
Yeah.
blast the site from orbit.
It yeah, it's the whole thing of
Yeah.
Skynet became self-aware on August 29th, 1997. It
Still-
became self-aware. They tried to pull the plug and it
Still waiting
didn't
for
like
that.
it. It
retaliated.
smacked the hand away, then shot him in the head. It was amazing.
It
was
started by
nasty to see.
removing physical media.
Right.
Well, the death of PlayStation as a brand, but they opened the can of worms that can't be unsealed.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So,
That's
Yep.
very true.
I think I like the memes you've seen of making fun of them. This is how you trade it, or sell a game or loan out a game on a PlayStation. Was it 2 or 3 or 4, whatever? And it's like,
Yes.
well, now they made themselves the butt of their own joke.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's interesting because it goes into talking like he's harping about game prices, about them going up, and it's just like, oh man, like at first I didn't think that was going to happen, and then I started watching more and more stuff, and I was like, crap, he's right.
Oh, it was me, both me and him. We were both like,
Yeah.
okay, we both saw it. I mean, it's any kind of fluctuation in the market is going to change things. And this was going to be the thing that, because honestly, there are more people that play on the PlayStation than Xbox and Nintendo. And when you take away, not talking like all gamers, just like console gamers, when you take away that option and you're going to force people into something, they're going to fight back in any way they can, whether it be a blackout, whether it be a boycott, whether it be, you know what, they just completely sell all their stuff and move to another console.
Yep.
And we're at this point where Sony made a stupid decision, and they continue to make a stupid decision. It took them almost a month for them to, or 3 weeks or so, for them to respond, but almost a month for them to respond to this. And their answer was doubling down, even though they knew the enormous, what was the term they said? Even though with the enormous scrutiny and everything that's going on, we're going to cautiously continue to move forward with what's going on.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
I think they thought that, because some leaked thing that came out, like they thought there'll be the outrage for, a few days, a week or whatever, and then it'll die down. Well, that hasn't really happened. People are still talking about it. And, it's, the thing is, I don't know. I think it's a problem when these game companies don't have enough people high up who actually play, who are actual gamers.
Yep. That are not within the community that
They're not,
actually,
if they're not part of the
they're not in
community,
touch with it.
they're businessmen and women, and they're not paying attention. Like their focus isn't where it is, just like how Disney how basically killed Star Wars, how Star Trek's basically dead, Doctor Who's basically dead. They forget what the core of their business is, who the fans are, and what the fans actually do, and how the fans are the ones who keep the brands and these consoles alive. Because if they don't have the fans who are spending the money, there's nothing being made that is going to get bought.
Yep.
So
Anthony, Coda?
Mhm. I think it's a sad future for gaming. That's all I got.
I think it's actually going to be kind of interesting. I think there's opportunity, because the AES Plus, we already know that they're the creators have been in talks with another company, and they
To
hadn't really
do
gone into
something
any
else,
detail,
to do something else very similar.
to do
And
something else that's
we
similar.
have,
And so
eh,
that to me, that is almost more exciting than the AES Plus.
and if the
No.
information that I kind of have, I kind of know who it is. At least it was hinted at, and that's going to change a lot.
So I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really cool to see what unfolds. The thing is, like, all of us honestly can be as affected as little or as much as we want to by it, because we can be like, all right, we're going off, we're going emulation, whatever, we'll all suffer with paralysis analysis when we open it up, and like, well, I have 15,000 games I can choose from. Oh, I'm just gonna go watch Solo Leveling one more time. But I think there's a lot of possibility, because the indie scene is really vibrant for console gaming, for PC gaming, and so the indie scene's, it's affordable, or indie and homebrew stuff still being made for all of these consoles. I'm sure when the AES Plus hits, if it sells well, the homebrew scene for that will probably
It's going to go through the
explode.
roof, especially if it's going to be easier to manufacture those carts.
Yep.
I mean, because like we know that they're at least listing them at $90, but I think once they have enough of that stuff made and they have access to make more chips, it will probably go down.
Yeah. What's interesting is we know the price of these AES carts. Has anybody heard anybody complain about the price of the carts?
A few people. I've heard a few people complain.
No.
And
But like, there's not a big outrage. There's not the outrage
no,
like there was with $80 Mario Kart.
Right.
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah.
Nowhere near it.
Yo,
Yeah.
but take it. But here's the thing: none of you collect Neo Geo like I do, and it's
No. You're missing the point. The average people are happy about a $90 cartridge.
yeah,
They
because
perfectly
not your
acceptable.
your average person is not going to go out and blow like 1,000 to whatever.
$4,000.
Exactly.
for
Who puts more money into these consoles?
Mark of the
The
Wolves.
average person, the
Yeah.
normie,
Mark of the
however
Wolves.
which way you want to put it. That's what's
Mhm.
amazing is people are fine with paying $90 for a cartridge, and I'm among them if I can get the Ultimate Edition. Because they see a value in that more so than they do in a brand new Mario Kart.
You know what? And I'll happily pay $90 because it's going to have a manual that's going to be in color that I don't get with Sony or anybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, and it's authentic. I could go to Anthony's house and play my new copy of Mark of the Wolves on his old Neo Geo.
If he lets you take it out of the box.
Right.
I can't play it because it might break. It's gonna break, whether you play it or not. But I think that's really like that also, to me, that speaks volumes of it is what is the value that we hold for these things.
Well,
And
you
somehow-
can't afford it.
Yeah, if you can afford it.
True, if you can afford it, that is a thing. But I mean, it does give you the option because it's not like the console itself, $250. That is like you could save for 4 months and be able to have enough money to pay for that. Like
I'm gonna have to.
and it's like it's. I know exactly. I mean, that's the thing. Is like not everybody's gonna have the money to drop on it. Some people may like. What I'll do is I'm gonna do my 4-way pay. I'll get it. It'll be fine, and I'll make 4 payments, and it'll be done. You know, I
Can
don't
you
have.
still reserve it that way?
I need to go look. Right now, I still have everything pre-ordered on my Amazon account. So, and I could use my Zip account. I'll just wait till it all comes in and then buy it instead of pre-ordering it. But no, I mean, I have ways to do it. I mean, it's like there's ways to do it. But you don't have to mortgage your house.
Yep.
Wink, wink.
Go sell plasma.
To,
I did that already.
Hey, OS, you don't have to mortgage your house for a Flying Squadron.
No, I wouldn't do that anyway. So
Hints on that, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Wink,
great.
wink.
No, but I'm just. I mean, we listen. We hope that the AES pushes forward. I'm not in any like Neo Geo circle or any like crazy stuff like that. But like the Neo Geo stuff, I fell in backwards with it, and that's a totally separate conversation. But it was
but I'm
refreshing.
gonna keep going with it.
Yeah, it was refreshing to see that like nobody is going to complain about Mark of the Wolves, which is I think like a $2,600 game, and you have it now coming out for like $60 or whatever. I mean,
90.
yeah, it's like,
But I don't even think to me it has nothing to do with what the original cartridge costs. It's the ability to have the AES and be able to play games.
but that's
With-
the whole thing.
with no internet, with no chance of them sitting there wiping my ability or bricking my system. I can
Yep.
literally just hook it up and
I don't agree with that. I'm sorry, because I don't agree with that at all. Because I have a full, you want to get into it, I have a full Japanese set release for CD. I have the CD, the CDZ, and I have at least about 15 to 20 AES games with an MPS converter. Okay, OS. So you want to, and when I tell people I have Neo Geo and all this other stuff, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, "Are you loaded?" And I say no. And what deters people the most from buying Neo Geo, and they go to either the CD, exactly, they go to the CD or they go to the Pocket with Neo Geo is because, or that big arcade stick, is because of the price of the games. If the price of the games were affordable, people would buy Neo Geo.
But see, you hit it right there. It's affordable. It doesn't matter. The originals aren't affordable. $90, somehow $90 for that is affordable versus $80 for Mario Kart or $80 for what
Right.
the newest Zelda game is or whatever.
Because the thing is, people will be acceptable to say, okay, you know what, it's the new Mario Kart, whatever, and they'll be okay to just,
But they weren't okay with Mario. Zombie, did you have something?
No,
So-
finish your point, Anthony.
So, all right, so people will be like, why he puts on glasses, but that was the randomest thing in this whole chat, but it just people were not okay with the whole thing of the Mario Kart because they were like, what are you offering us or whatever. But people are okay with the Neo Geo prices because they're like, bless you, because they're like, oh, you know what? These games are so astronomically expensive.
They're beloved. They're beloved.
I never had a Neo Geo growing up. People like I never had a Neo Geo growing up. I was never able to afford one, and that the biggest thing that people are pushing for this is that they want the system because they never had it and they want to explore it.
Mm-hmm.
What do most? Okay, go ahead. And I'll say it after.
I would agree with that 100% because as somebody who knew what a Neo Geo was and could never afford one throughout his whole life, I was completely on board with that because it gives me a chance to actually own something that is officially Neo Geo at a time and at a price that is affordable for me. Now, what I find interesting though is you do bring up some good points that it doesn't require an internet connection and all these things that these newer consoles are requiring. But I think the biggest factor is we're getting a sort of repro treatment for very expensive hardware and software, even though they're official products. So, like going back to Earthbound, of course you could emulate that game.
Yep.
Easily.
Play it legitimately too.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want to shell out the hundreds for an actual cart, you can do that too if you want. Or you find a happy place in the middle. You want to have something physical, but you don't want to shell out, $100, $200, $300, whatever it is loose right now, for an authentic cart. So you'll go buy a $50 repro.
See what
That's
what
kind
you said
of how
was
I'm looking.
very interesting. No, what you said was very interesting, Zombie, because and I think most people are with this is that you are buying the Neo Geo at the price that you want, and you're buying the price you're buying the games at the price that you think is fair, and you're not feeding into that bull of $2,000 games or $1,800 games or whatever because they were so hard to get a hold of.
Oh yeah.
And you're doing that, and I think a lot of people are happy with that because there's a demand for buying games on their own terms.
Yep.
And this this should show Sony, listen, we're buying all this stuff on our own terms. I can't take this seriously. Shit. It's like, it's like that one kid in the sand pit that you just told Frankie don't eat the sand, and the dude just does it anyway. And he just comes up with this.
Because to Anthony's point, I definitely would have been one of the few people to be like, wow, you have a Neo Geo console and like a ton of games. Wow, you must be loaded. because I know the history of that console, of those games, how the market value and the price on that never really changed much at all. If
No,
there was a
no.
dip in the pricing, it was like a slight dip, but it's not like where it would drastically rise and then drop and plummet and then slowly go back up like other consoles did. So, I mean, he's from my perspective as a collector, knowing the history and knowing, what all that was worth back then versus what it is now, he's absolutely right because I would definitely assume that if anybody has a Neo Geo, um, let alone the library. So, for me, because of what owning a console like that would mean to me as a collector and uh unofficial historian of sorts, I'm okay with paying a reproduction price,
Mhm.
but I'm not getting a reproduction console. I'm
No,
actually getting something that is licensed by the company who made it.
and as
So,
authentic as it can be.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm getting authenticity at a budget price.
Yeah, that's definitely a good deal.
Yeah, it is.
Until we meet again. All right. That's the second time I've done this on a podcast. Um,
You
honestly,
rapping boom.
you boob. No, but and the thing is too is it's one of those things for me is like I played the arcades. The only ever time I ever saw a system was in the freaking the videos for Video Power. Like I never actually
Oh, that used to infuriate me.
I think I never touched actually the AES. I held cartridges, but I never actually touched the system itself. But the arcades, the MBS, I played the heck out of those.
Oh yeah,
The
the
four card system,
multi-cabs.
the multi-cabs, yeah, that's man, I played that, played all that stuff. Metal Slug, 8 Men After, Fatal Fury games, King of Fighters, all that stuff.
King
Yeah,
of the
I love it.
Monsters. Yeah.
And I'm glad, like I've always like when I almost bought the AES-X or the MVS-X or whatever system,
The
which
Gold
was
X.
yeah, and I almost bought the mini one that you hook up to
I
your
wanted
TV
the
or
mini.
the arcade. My buddy has that, but I was like, okay, I'll just hold out. I'll hold out, and it's coming. I held out, and I'm finally gonna be able to
Yep.
have the freaking console in my hands and be at one with the universe because yes, because it's one thing I really really wanted, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to because they've already they like what a month after they announced it they announced 2 more games that they're gonna be releasing, and then they have another list of like I think they're 8 they're doing. I'm like, let's go. This is awesome.
And it's cheaper than the next gen consoles other than the
Yep.
Switch.
I mean, if you weren't lucky, like if you weren't exposed to it, like growing up, I fixed MVS cabinets at my friend's store. My friend owned an import store, and I've said this like a million times over. And he had he had a Neo Geo system there, and he had the games, and he had the CD and all the other stuff. So, uh, like I would fix the MVS cabinets, I would do all of that. But I would buy when I worked at college, I would take all the money and dump it into a store, and I would buy like all the Neo Geo CD games, Japan release, the CDZ, the CD, the regular CD, and I started buying AES games in the hopes that I would buy the Neo Geo system, and I never did. His store closed. I bought out all of his PC Engine stuff. He gifted me Genkai Fukengetsu Sapphire, and the shmup, and then a bunch of other stuff like Rennie Blaster and Godzilla and everything else. That was, that was it. And then years later, and I mean years later, I picked up the AES for $500 with 3 games, 2 controllers. Still had my memory card and the big stick, and But if you weren't exposed to it as a as a kid, and you knew the games and the arcades, now's when you're gonna get into it.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it's affordable. It's very affordable. I mean,
Mhm.
you're getting it, aren't you?
If I can get the Ultimate Edition,
Yeah, and I don't know if they fixed the glitch that made it so we can't actually order it here in the States.
yeah, and but the thing is, like, if I can't order it here from here for the States, I'm not getting it.
You could do it on Amazon.
You
It's
can't
not
do it.
the Ultimate.
No, you can't get the Ultimate
Right.
on Amazon.
So if it's the Ultimate, it's nothing for you.
It's you can get the regular edition, but not the Ultimate Edition.
Well, the only difference with the Ultimate Edition is you get the memory card, you get you get the wireless controller besides the
Mhm.
wired. You get all 10 games. You get a case that displays the 10 games.
Yeah.
But you're still getting it's just still the base console.
Yeah,
Coach,
but
are
it's
you
the
getting it?
console with the games,
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
and that's the thing is you get all of that stuff. It's a good deal.
Yeah,
It's a,
for
it's
$1,000.
a really good deal.
Yeah, it's really
And
good.
so it's like I get that deal or I get nothing. That's just oftentimes that's just the way it goes for me. It's like this is what I
Plain
want. If I
case in
can't
point.
get this, I'm out.
Yeah.
Touch it.
When's it come out again? What's the date?
November something.
Yeah, November 17th, 12th. Yeah, November 12th.
You know, I think if it does well, it's going to show physical. There's still a demand for physical. There's people want physical, and if it's a good product, and that's the other thing is, I think it's going to be a good product, seeing as how it's as close to 1-to-1 as they can make it,
Mm-hmm.
and $250. That's less than any console you can get.
Yep.
Any of the big three consoles. I think you can get an
Yeah,
everyday console
for
for
$1,000 for 2 controllers, a memory card, 10 games. I bet it's cheaper than anything right now.
Yeah. And if you just wanted to get the console and then pick up a game or two that you wanted, it's going to come with a controller, so you're good there. So for the price, was it a Switch 2 is $450 without a game?
For now, it's going to go up again.
Yeah, it's gonna increase.
But so $450, you'll have $200 left after you get the console for the AES Plus. You can buy 2 games and an extra controller if you want, and you'll come out ahead because you don't even get a game with
the Switch.
any
Yeah.
of the modern consoles, which seems to be one of the craziest things. Like that should be a given. Like you buy a console, it comes with a game
A pack in
because
title.
said console doesn't do anything without games. But
Mhm.
that seems to be something that's been lost over time.
No Mario Brothers Duck Hunt.
Or Super
Well,
Mario
For
World.
$5,000.
Oh yeah. Don't
Well,
even get me started on that.
if I can do this on, it looks like it's up, but I don't have the 250 to drop right now, but I could have it on Wednesday. To do it through pay a 4-way PayPal.
To buy what?
The Ultimate Edition.
On Amazon?
No, on their site.
Oh.
Oh, going directly from them, huh?
Well, that's yeah. You can't do it on.
But that's
you can't do
not
PayPal on.
not the US site, is it?
You switch it to yeah, it's gonna when you go to their site, it's gonna ask you if you want to switch it to the US, and you say yes.
It never asked me that.
Here, I'll put it in the link here.
I'm on their
Yeah,
site.
drop that link.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Well,
But
let me go back. Yeah, because if this let me do this on Wednesday when I get paid, I am canceling everything, just getting this, and I'll pay my 250. I'll pay my 250 up front, and then I'll pay the next 250 every time I get paid. Okay, I put it in the thing. See if you can
put it in.
I'll put it in the Discord.
Discord. Okay, I was looking for it in the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Just
wow.
chat.
It bumps.
Nice.
It's $19.99.
Oh no. So if you want to, you click. Yeah, so if you that's the controller. If you go down to the bottom where it says view all, you'll see the AES Plus Ultimate.
Ah,
I'm not seeing anything to switch it to United States.
It
It
automatically switch it. Yeah, it should
yeah.
automatically switch it to you.
Oh,
It
it did.
So it orders shipping to the United States, Canada, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand may be subject to additional duties and import taxes at delivery. These fees are not included in your order total and are determined by local authorities and carriers. That's fine. I don't care about that. But dude, if I can,
I thought, and shipping's $20, so
yeah,
shit,
that's
that's great.
nothing.
Yeah.
okay. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
If you do this, you let me know, and I'll order mine on Wednesday. I'll cancel my stuff on Amazon. I'll be good to go.
I'm gonna have to look into it. There's some stuff going on at the moment, but
Yeah. Or if I get paid Wednesday and I do it and it works, I'll let you guys know.
Let's just all do
Yeah.
it on the podcast right now.
Yeah. Well,
make sure you display all your credit card information. And stuff.
Yeah, I'll give you my PayPal information. There you go.
Right.
Give your passwords.
But yeah, I posted the link in the Discord, and I'll put it actually in the video too for people who want to check it out if it is available for be able to. Because that was the biggest thing is you couldn't have it. Anybody who tried to order it from the site, the shipping would cancel it out because it was some kind of problem they were having with actually shipping it to the U.S. at the time. So from the notes,
a lot of
looks
the
like it's
tariff
fixed.
stuff and whatnot has been handled, so that might have had something
Yeah.
to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think it shows that there's interest in this stuff.
Yes.
And if Sega released a new Genesis that was compatible with yeah, I heard it too. That was compatible with Genesis cartridges, or better yet, if they released a Dreamcast 2 that could play all of their systems, how sweet would that be?
A modern XI console plays
Yeah.
them all.
CDX, yeah, that'd be nice.
Or call it the Dreamcast XI.
Yep.
Or Dreamcast 2 or whatever. And it'll play Sega CD, it'll play Dreamcast, it'll play Saturn, it would play Genesis, and with adapters you could play the SG-1000, the Mark III.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly.
Game
so
Gear.
Sega, I'm looking at the camera here for this, right? So Sega, here's the thing. What you need to do is you need to make it to where it plays Saturn and Sega CD and Dreamcast. And also make sure that there's a little bit more encryption so people can't just burn the games. So you don't lose money on that. Just saying.
Sega CD32X.
Yep.
All the Tower of Power combinations.
With one power cable, not
yes, not
It was only
4
3
bricks.
Yeah, and throw in the Game Gear. Don't give us this mini Game Gear that we can barely see the screen. Put the option in there.
Yeah, I got the mini Game Gears, but I don't play them.
With like 4 games built in.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing ran like this whole nuclear reactor.
The thing is, you can buy an AC adapter
Yeah.
now that has 3 plugs in it, so you only
Yes.
need one power cord.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Power.
All right.
Yep,
Well,
yep.
anything else, guys, before we wrap up the episode?
Digital's the future, but it's not going to be the only option. It's just going to be the most common and easiest option.
Mm-hmm.
So choose wisely.
Wisely. You chose poorly. Sony chose poorly.
Yep.
Yes.
I need to make
Yes,
that a
they did.
meme. I need to make that a meme. Sony chose poorly.
So make
And we
the
was-
Raiders one with Sony there. Sony logo. You chose poorly.
And then you
And
can
we
have the
will
whole
resist them until the end.
right. Yeah.
Mhm.
We're gonna have it to where I'll do one with its Raiders, and it's like it's them opening up the Ark, and it's like the Neo Geo, and then there will be like Sony guys, and they just get obliterated
And their-
because of
their
the power
faces
of the Neo
melted.
Geo.
Yeah. Do that. Well,
Anything to enlighten the spirits for the people who are watching this, or just doom and gloom,
I think it's
fire and
more just
brimstone.
choose wisely, play what you want, how you want. Don't break the bank or mortgage the house so you can play something.
Yeah.
But
It-
there's so many games out. There's so many options.
Yeah.
If one system or whatever is too expensive, look at a different one. There's so many options out there. Not everyone collects for every console. Look for some of the ones that aren't as popular as others. Master System.
Hey,
It's not as popular. I agree. It's a great system, but
I don't have a complete set yet.
you can
Still
buy
working-
mine.
I'm still working on that.
I've got one, and I'm thinking of selling it. Although I was actually going to start selling it, and then it's like, okay, I might need to hold on to it for a bit because if prices jump up, they might be worth a little bit more money.
See, even in the community, folks.
Yep. The thing is, if I can make a little bit of money off of it, and maybe I turn around and buy my overpriced computer that I've waited too long to get,
Fair
you
enough.
know,
Yeah.
either that or I spend it on Lego or Masters of the Universe stuff. So whatever.
All valid options. All valid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been picking up a bunch of Chima stuff.
Is it Chima? I thought it was Kaima.
This is I always called it Chima.
Mm.
So I don't know.
I would say if you haven't done so already, find ways to preserve what you hold dear to you. Even if it's not a big collection or not as grand as you may want it to be. People are going to call it gatekeeping. I don't care. I take care of my stuff, you know. So if it means if it means that much to you, you know, treat it that way. Do what you can to, you know, preserve it as long as possible. If you have a backup, if you have digital and physical, more power to you. But yeah, at this point moving forward, whatever works for you. Because I think overall, with the whole gatekeeping thing as it is, when that whole thing started, honestly, what matters to me as a collector is just being able to experience the game itself, being able to experience the hardware itself. You know, it'd be a good way to get that exposure that you weren't aware of as a kid or you knew of, like we talked about with the Neo Geo, and just didn't have the opportunity to experience it then. So hold on to physical, support digital if you want. I mean, honestly, it's whatever works for you.
Good. What do you got?
Oh, nice. So now definitely my motto is definitely try to stay with the physical as much as you can and support the developers that actually put out the things. And I can be guilty of not, because as some of you guys mentioned, is a lot of my collection, almost probably 90% of my collection is used or secondhand stuff. So, you know, but maybe going forward, I'll definitely try to support the developers that give us the last remnants of physical. So, and thanks for having me on the podcast again. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, anytime. You're always welcome. Anthony, what you got?
Make better judgments with your wallet. That's really
it.
what it's. I mean, just yeah. I mean, just make. I mean, honestly though, just make better choices. Don't go into debt because of all of this.
Better choices.
Yeah.
No judgment here.
It's got a good soundtrack though. It has a very good soundtrack. It's one of good
Yes,
Bloody
it
Tears.
does.
But it just just because it's going digital doesn't mean there aren't other avenues where you could collect physical. And you could definitely find out, and then don't feed into the hype of like all the games that are like going through the roof right now. Like if you have to wait it out, then just like wait it out if you want to buy games. But remember, video games is a commodity. It's not really worth it going into debt. So just basically what it is.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this is that, always speak with your wallet. So I'll mainly look at the camera. So always speak with your wallet. There are paths that some may find unnatural. No. Honestly, there are ways that you can still do digital that is not going to affect emulate. But hold out as much as you can. If you really feel that physical's important to you, fight for it. Talk to your congressman and say, hey, I want to be able to have because right now the biggest thing about this, even if we go completely digital, which is we're heading that direction, we need to be having our lawmakers fight for us to be able to have digital ownership. Because a lot of these companies, like we said all through this episode, they just want to focus on a license, temporary own, and after a while, you're going to lose it. So work on that. Also, look at other alternatives. AES Plus, the Evercade, emulation. It's all out there. But remember, in the mortal words of Billy Ocean, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. All right, everyone. Have a great one.
Good night.